Welcome to Mic Drop, the podcast where relevancy is irrelevant and we don't give a shit about your feelings.
Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's an honor and a pleasure to bring to you my next podcast guests. And yes, that's guests, plural. I'm doing a little different mic drop style. This time I've got a couple on, and I'm going to introduce both of them. The first one is a gentleman who spent 13 years as an active duty Navy SEAL, 5 years after which was a civilian contractor as an instructor. He did 4 deployments, 3 of which were combat deployments. He is the founder, co-founder, and CEO of Forged Clothing. She did 4 years as a U.S. Marine intel specialist, which coincidentally so did I, and it turns out we went to the same fucking school. She is the marketing manager at Forged Clothing Company. She is a model, a brand ambassador, a social media influencer, and also a private investigator. The real life Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Welcome to the stage, Samantha Bonilla and Mike Sauers.
Thanks for having us, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming. I know you guys live halfway across the country, and it's kind of a trip. Especially you guys got delayed on the flights yesterday, right? I can't thank you guys enough for taking the time out of your schedule. I know you're both busy as shit and travel a lot, so it does mean the world to me that you guys would come all the way to bumfuck Texas to enjoy some McDonald's coffee, which is the finest in the area, and sit down with me for a few hours because I know a lot of people are interested in both your stories as well as the collective as a couple. So I appreciate you guys coming.
Well, we appreciate you having us.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It's never a bad thing to get out of California at
No,
times.
I know. I'm actually surprised you guys can stomach still living there. But,
I mean, it's tough. It's tough, you know. You just surrender your guns and
put your balls in her purse.
Yeah, actually, our first stop yesterday was Whataburger, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's like, you got to eat it.
Yeah.
We had to compare, and I'm like, I don't know, InNOut, right?
No, hell no.
I think InNOut is where it's at.
We're about to put the boxing gloves on. So this
we're starting early right now.
Yeah, this is is there Bailey's in there? What the fuck's going on? So the raging debate both here in Texas and in California is what's better, Whataburger or InNOut. And I will say that each state, respectively, it's almost like it's a fucking Super Bowl team. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like or any fucking rival. It's like the Cowboys, Eagles, or whatever. Like it's absurd the level with which people will argue about which one is better. Having said that, I lived in California for a little over a decade and had plenty of InNOut. And I will say, for me personally, not just because I live in Texas, like I think Whataburger kicks the shit out of InNOut. That's my take on it. I mean, are we about to fight? Is that what's happening?
It's a tough call, but I will have to stick to my guns with the InNOut.
Yeah.
There's one reason you're saying that, and she's sitting next to you.
You almost feel healthy eating it. It's like the tomatoes fresh, the onions fresh, the lettuce.
And I've only had I've only had Whataburger one time. Yeah. Yesterday was the first time. Maybe it was a one-off, but I will say the consistency of InNOut and the freshness of the ingredients.
What did you have at that Whataburger? What did you get? Just the regular fucking...
I got a jalapeno cheeseburger. It was good.
I had the double meat. It was the normal burger. So I wanted to basically compare it to the double at InNOut. I figured it would be comparable. That was your nickname in Buds,
right? Double meat, right?
Double meat.
So here's what I will say is that like the density of the fucking Whataburger is tenfold. Like to me, the InNOut has it reminds me of California. It's light and fluffy. Mm-hmm. Like there's not a lot of substance to it.
Fresh.
You know, whereas the Whataburger, I mean, that is like the true fucking gut bomb. You know, I mean, like the fucking double, Jesus, now you got me fucked up. The double cheeseburger that they sell, that thing weighs like fucking 9 pounds. I mean, like I don't know how you argue that. To me, if I need 3 doubles to even fucking make it down.
I think it goes back to the old argument maybe of, you know, quantity versus quality. So to me, it is a bigger burger.
Yeah. And better.
In appearance, when I first saw it, unwrapped it, I looked at it and I was like, well, you know what? That is a big burger.
Yeah.
But, you know, but taste wise, I like I said, the ingredients of InNOut was definitely just better in my book.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming. I think that wraps this interview up. I mean, they're both good. I guess, for me, I don't think it's a coincidence that you guys eat InNOut primarily and you prefer that. I eat Whataburger primarily and prefer that, but they're both good. I'm going to stick to my guns and say fucking Texas rules and Whataburger, but maybe we'll go get some after the interview and we'll try it again, a little 2.0. But is there a style InNOut wise that you guys like that's not, I know like none of them are on the menu, like what's the secret
style.
fucking animal style?
Animal style for sure.
Yeah, and that's what kind of had me too, because then when you go to an InNOut, you can get specific, special recipes made. So I was thinking, Whataburger, do they have the special recipes? Is there something that you can get there?
Yeah. No, fuck no, there isn't. No, here's the thing too. Like, God bless Texas, but like the lack of sense of humor. Like, dude, I have so much wasted material in this state because I'm a dry, sarcastic fucking prick. So, like, if I went in there and I was like, hey, I'd like a double cheeseburger animal style, they would just be like, what? Mm-hmm. Like, they wouldn't even get it, In fact, they'd probably throw some fucking roadkill on there. Like, that'd be their idea of animal style. It'd be a fucking raccoon tail hanging out of your fucking sandwich. But anyway, yeah, it's good shit. But I will say, for InNOut, I do like the ability to get shit smothered in onions and however the fuck you want. I think that's a cool aspect that Whataburger could pick up on. But they're pretty set in their ways. But at any rate, I know you guys have listened to a couple of the episodes. I've only done one other episode where I interviewed two people at once, and I'm going to do it a little different. Just as a heads up, with that one, I spent an hour with one, an hour with the other, and then 20 or 30 minutes with both. I want to keep you both engaged, especially since you're a couple too, and just kind of bounce back and forth. But as you guys well know, I always like to start out with some ridiculous fucking questions to get the ball rolling. We've already wasted a few minutes talking about burgers, but we're gonna roll right into it. What's the craziest place you guys have ever hammered it out at? Yeah, you weren't expecting that one. That's the whole. That's true mic drop style. The gloves are off.
Mom, stop listening right now.
You better answer that one, babe.
I don't know. There's been so many crazy.
I'll let you pick your choice. I don't want to start this interview off under the bus. So.
let's just say a car to keep it safe, and right. I mean,
mic drop is the trust tree, right?
Public places, yeah.
And the next question would be:
we're gonna spend some time on this one. I think
underwater,
yeah.
Like in a pool or
scuba diving.
Scuba diving. That's some dangerous shit right there. If I can have Jaws getting in on that. What's the most annoying trait that the other one has? I'm going to try to get you under the bus, as you can imagine.
He says a lot.
He says like a lot?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, dude.
So you're like a valley girl? Is that what she's saying?
I think that is.
You spent too much time in California.
Yeah.
So now you're like, all right, well, here's your shit.
She answered that a little too fast.
Well, here we go. She definitely has this twitch to her leg, and whenever she's on the computer watching TV, it's like this crazy twitch going on, and she's always trying to show me something, like check this video out on the laptop sitting on her lap, and it's going and twitching back and forth, and I just can't stand it. I'm like, stop moving.
You say, will you stop doing that?
Stop.
That's good shit. All right, so in balancing it out a little bit, what's the favorite thing about one another?
Easy. He totally challenges me with everything. Things that I do not want to do. I mean, before we met, I wouldn't even get in the water. I'm scared of fish.
Marine that won't get in the water?
I know. We are not amphibious.
Yeah.
If it's raining, we ain't training. But Mike was like, get in the fucking water now. Remember our first scuba diving trip?
I don't think it was quite like that.
No, I just kicked her in the back. And
I'm pretty sure it was, hey, babe, when you feel comfortable, just kind of lower yourself in.
I was thinking maybe it'd be a good idea if you maybe thought about getting perhaps in the water.
We were in Costa Rica. That was our first vacation together. And he books a snorkeling trip, and I've never done that. I'm like, dude, I don't know. I hate fish, right? He's like, get in the water. Remember that?
I mean, I was coaxing you in the water. At first, it was very nice, but then I realized, how much did I pay for this boat to come out here?
Get in the fucking. Yeah, when money's on the line, it's a kick to the low back, right?
But you know what? It was good. Yeah. Since then, we've been scuba diving, we snorkel, we skydive, bungee jump.
Would you say that you enjoy the water now?
I love it.
Yeah.
He can't get me out of the water now.
Shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to think about. She went from not wanting to get in the water, with angelfish and pufferfish to a couple months ago, we were in the Bahamas and went on a shark dive, a shark feeding.
No shit.
Where the sharks, they're bumping into you while they're, guy with the chainmail wetsuits right in front of you. So,
but had I not met him,
she looked over at me and just started smiling.
Yeah.
Of course, we show it to her parents and they're like, "Oh my God, he's gonna kill you! Yeah. You can't be doing that.
We need to take an insurance policy out."
So now you have fucking gills, huh? That's awesome.
She is a really, really good listener as far as.
When is this a Tinder profile?
I jumped in the fucking water.
When I vent and complain, when I vent and complain, she will stand there and listen. She'll give me a good, 20 minutes to get out everything I want to say. Yeah. So that is very, very nice of her.
I'm going to say, of all of the fucking things that I could have possibly imagined you mentioning about your favorite thing about her being a good listener was absolutely not one of them.
Yeah, me either. Absolutely not.
Absolutely not one of them. But it's good shit. All right, so now back to the negative. What's the most incompetent thing about each other? What are you most incompetent at?
Anything physical fitness. No,
I mean about each other.
Oh.
Yeah, what do you think he's the most incompetent at?
Yeah, definitely with the computer. It just angers me. I have to take it from him and be like, let me just type this email for you, or let me do this text,
Yeah.
But,
what is she the most incompetent at? You can't play it safe. I know you gotta fly home with her, but still, I don't, so that's why I'm asking these shitty questions.
She kind of threw it out there. Like I said, we're very adventurous people, and there's a lot of things I like to go and do, like hiking trips. But as far as how to properly pack for an adventure,
she's got a fucking bikini and a toothbrush, right?
And a makeup kit, and sometimes I can fit her whole outfit in my front pocket.
What is that? An eye patch?
Yeah.
Dental floss. I'm glad you're about your hygiene. Oh, you're wearing that.
We'll be on the trail somewhere in the back country, and where's the water at? Oh, we don't have any water, but we've got all of this hairspray and face makeup in here, so that's really good.
Yeah. So packing not your strong suit.
Yeah.
Well, I can imagine that's not a huge surprise. But
she brings a lot of stuff, but it's
most
just not always. It's just not always the right
and
stuff.
It's funny. One year for Christmas, he got me socks, hiking socks. And what was it? A headlamp. And I'm like, are you kicking me out? What's happening right now?
Honey, I got your luggage.
Hit the road. Yeah. He's like, no, this is the kind of stuff you need to be packing with. The headlamp. You got to take a headlamp everywhere.
Bring a headlamp.
I know it. I keep a headlamp in my ass half the time. I have one in my car. In my backpack. They're all over the fucking place.
We were down in Puerto Rico one time. And she's like, right before the trip, I was like, you got your headlamp? She's like, why do I bring this stupid headlamp? And I was like, just bring it, babe, just bring it. And she's in the shower. We Airbnb'd this place. And was it before or after the hurricane? I think it was
after.
I think it was after, So the electric grid in Puerto Rico was a little sketchy at the time. So she jumps in the shower. All of a sudden, all the electric goes out. And it is pitch dark.
Yeah.
And I just hear her saying, Mike. And I had to do it. I went in, I pull out my headlamp. And I go out in the bathroom. And what, babe? What?
Yeah.
Where's your headlamp?
Get the fuck out of here.
Get out of here with that stupid thing on your head.
That's classic team guy shit.
Yeah,
right there.
totally.
Fucking, yeah. I mean, how many times does that shit happen in a platoon? Oh, you forgot that? Here, let me rub it in your face.
Yeah.
Actually, the packing thing reminds me of, have you seen the movie Romancing the Stone?
Oh yeah,
where Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, she's a total, same kind of thing, all dressed to the nines. She's an author. She's got these fancy Italian shoes, and they're bushwhacking in the fucking jungle of I don't know, Brazil or some shit. And, he's like, Jesus Christ, what the fuck are you wearing? And pulls her shoes off and takes his machete out and lops the fucking heel off. She's like, those were Italian. He goes, now they're fucking practical. But so there's some of that going on with you guys.
A little bit.
Like.
Oh yeah, definitely the team guy mentality, especially it's kind of like as you get older.
Oh yeah.
When you're about to go outside, you're not thinking so fashion forward. You're thinking, well, it's raining. I probably should put a Gore-Tex jacket on.
You got a fucking go bag to take a shower.
Exactly. Yeah. So
he always has garbage bags with him, which is great. But he always has snacks with him, which is awesome. I'm like, you're gonna make a great mom someday. Honestly, like.
I tell her we're working on it, babe.
Yeah. I'll get there.
I'll just sneak things in her bag. You brought your puffy jacket, right?
No, you did.
You got some water in there. Well, we got the water container. Unfortunately, it's empty, but we're getting there.
That's baby steps. Mm-hmm. What food dish is the other best at making? What's your signature dishes? But you have to pick hers and she picks yours.
See, that's going to be easy for me because he cooks.
Yeah. You don't cook? Jesus.
No, I know. What am I good at? Now I'm reflecting on this. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This is the new age independent woman right here. No, she makes some.
She makes killer toast.
The cereal she makes.
He's like
so
really thinking
good.
She
about
can
it.
boil water like a motherfucker.
No, you make
no.
good
She
breakfast.
she makes some good Puerto Rican dishes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you pronounce them?
What's that? Mofongo.
No shit.
Mofongo. Have you had that?
I haven't, but I saw the Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. They did there's a place in Miami that has fucking fantastic mofongo. I guess it looked good, but you make that from scratch, huh?
It's good.
Yeah, definitely try that if you go to a Puerto Rican restaurant. Empanadas.
Yeah.
Puerto Ricans aren't so on the healthy side.
Not just yet. Yeah. Well, all right. So, what's your favorite? What do you think he makes the best?
Your steak marinade. Like your steaks are so good, but it's the marinade.
Yeah,
for sure.
You
He needs to
the
bottle it.
Well, I mean, trademark pending right now.
So first I sneak off into the bathroom.
Yeah, I mean, I won't get into all the ingredients.
He doesn't want to share it.
What's the gist of it? Is it savory? Is it sweet?
Yeah, it's a bit. It's a little both. I'll just say like some Worcester, and I use a bit of soy in there.
Yeah.
Italian dressing.
It's the Italian dressing, I think. It's like
garlic. Black pepper. There's a few other ingredients
key
in
ingredients.
there.
Right.
I can't give everything away.
What is there a favorite cut that you use for that, or just fucking everything?
We both agree. We're both big ribeye fans.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that fat on there. That fat is flavor.
That's my favorite part.
End cap is very good, and also I'm a big tomahawk fan.
Yeah. So ribeye across the board. I'm tracking. I'm right there with you. There's a ribeye end cap, like the whole fucking thing from Wagyu, from a company that is pretty spectacular, but. To me, that piece, that end cap piece, is probably my favorite piece. I do enjoy a good hanger steak too. But all right, would you ever hang out with the MyPillow guy?
Let me tell you how pissed I am. It's so funny you bring this up because we paid $100 for these fucking MyPillows, thinking they're gonna be the greatest, right? They were not. It's like sleeping on peanuts. You know the little styrofoam peanuts?
This podcast sponsored by MyPillow.
Oh, no.
No, I'm kidding. Yeah, they suck.
Seriously,
you hated them.
I hate them.
So it's a bag of packing peanuts?
So would I hang out with him? Yeah. Yes, to tell them that they suck terribly.
Well, I was even more upset because the information I got about how good the MyPillow was from Team Guys.
Is that right?
Yeah, so...
They led you down the primrose path.
Exactly. And when you order a MyPillow, they ask you all these questions. What's your height? What's your weight? Are you a side sleeper, a back sleeper?
Yeah.
So you fill all this out. So you're thinking, okay, it's like when you go get the running shoes at the high-speed running, store. They ask you all these questions. You get on the treadmill. So you're like, wow, these are going to be the best running shoes ever, and you pay $250 for them. And you get out and you're like, well, I don't feel like I'm running any faster.
But you know what? what though? The dude is so smart because how many My Pillows has he sold?
Yeah.
Like he's a freaking millionaire.
No, I know.
You know,
Yeah.
his commercials are great. They make you want. He wears the little cross where you can see it visibly. You
it's
know,
hanging
like,
out of his.
They're
kind of creepy though. Like the one where he shows up behind the fucking
mirror.
Yeah, it's like
Pops
you're that,
on you
like dude, you'd get shot.
Candyman or something.
Like if you popped up in my mirror first thing in the morning, at minimum you're going to get bit. Probably going to get shot. You know, maybe a baseball bat across the head. Like, and
he wears the same blue shirt every single time.
To me, it's like one of those. They're so cheesy you can't forget them. You know, like they're so bad they're actually good. Yep. But the thing, I don't think he means for them to be shitty though.
No. I mean, especially for the price and why we didn't send them back. There was one positive.
Yep.
It came with 2 free travel pillows.
Yep.
Now,
and those things really suck.
No, they are amazing.
Awesome. They
are amazing.
Yeah, no shit.
You know how it is when you have a little camping pillow?
Yeah.
And usually they're just super soft and they're not worth a shit. But obviously we travel a lot, and the pillows that came with it, they are great.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They are great. So we basically, paid $150 for 2 travel pillows.
Did you bring them on this trip?
No, not this one.
So they're not that.
This one's a
good.
short.
Well, this wasn't a bad flight.
Yeah.
2 hours.
So it wasn't, and we were running late to the airport. And then we got to the airport, and then we were delayed. So that's always a great feeling.
Hurry up!
You're hustling to get there. They're just like the teams, right?
Sounds like a military flight.
Spend half your time waiting on airplanes, the other half waiting on officers.
I know it. Fucking bastards. What's the instance where the other one has inspired you the most? Can you think of a specific instance?
Yeah, easily. Well, I guess when you went back to school, you know.
For me, definitely, you know, Sam has her master's degree, and she talked me into going back to school.
Using that GI Bill.
Yeah, honestly, it's one of those things, you know, with the GI Bill, you're always like, I've got that there, you know, maybe I'll use it, maybe I won't.
Yeah. Maybe I'll become a gemologist sometime.
And I'd already had a business, and you know, I was like, well, you know, I don't know, and your spare time is valuable.
Yeah.
But she talked me into going to school, and I'm very happy I did, and it was a very rewarding experience. Definitely for sure. What
did you get your degree in?
Business administration.
Oh wow, fuck man, that's cool. Yeah. I went when we were instructors together, but I did criminal justice because it was like the easiest. There's a lot of gray area with it. You know, it's not like math where it's like, you're fucking wrong, which I would have been wrong most of the time. It's a lot of explaining yourself, and I'm pretty good at explaining myself. I find myself doing that a lot, so that was a natural fit. But when did you finish doing that?
I just actually finished up a few months ago.
Oh, wow. Fuck, that's awesome.
Yep.
Here's a question I have in terms of the relevancy as it relates to your business. Did you find that there was very much practical, hands-on, applicable knowledge? Because I know everything I've learned in business, you know, I wouldn't say flies in the face of a lot of the traditional knowledge, but it's goddamn sure not very applicable. Did you find that you learned a lot that you can apply to your business?
I mean, I would say yes and no. Just like just like in the teams, when you learn tactics, and you go through 6 different shooting schools, and you'll take one thing here, one thing there from it. It still makes you a more well-rounded shooter. Yeah. But it definitely, if someone's sitting there, you know, in a class telling you, you know, this is how you hold your weapon, and you're like, well, I don't hold my weapon like that. Why do you hold your weapon like that? Yeah. And, you know, they're trying to tell you, well, you know, this is my background, and it doesn't really apply to what you do. Yeah. You know, if you were a competition shooter or something, you're like, well, that's a little bit different than tactical shooting. Yeah. So I would say, yes, there was definitely things, you know, that I learned that did apply, but there was also a lot of things that didn't apply. And a lot of it too comes into relevancy because, especially with like marketing now and social media, and things are changing so much. I mean, you know, every 6 months something new comes out.
Yeah.
So a lot of these classes that they have, they just can't update them fast enough. Yeah. So I think in that realm of it, in the marketing realm, it's very tough. And it's really, nobody knows your brand like you. Yeah. It's just like you can pay somebody a lot of money to come in and market your brand. Yeah. And just because, they could market Converse or some other big brand or doesn't mean they can always market your brand either. Yeah. Especially the more niche of a brand you are. Yeah. And it's harder for people to pin that down for sure.
I think the MyPillow guys are going to come help me out here soon.
Yeah.
The one thing on that, I think, and I agree. Like I've had business advisors and people that I've hired to help develop business plans and things of that nature in the last couple of years, and definitely learned some things. But I also kind of realized, I think, similarly speaking, like there's almost kind of two sides to that coin. Is that there's the traditional principles of business which don't really change. In terms of bottom lines and accounting and certain things, making sure that shit's organized and, accountability and, job description, certain things that I think almost come inherently from being in the SEAL teams. The way that they're organized in a lot of ways mirror a business, and in some ways, obviously they don't. But to your point, yes, absolutely. Like there's so many new technologies and things that are constantly fucking evolving on the marketing side specifically. I think that's probably the biggest difference is the marketing component of business, especially with social media. Like it's almost like you got to hire a fucking 16-year-old to tell you what's fucking, what's popping, social media wise to find out where to fucking advertise. It's fucking nuts. All right. So, you guys both inspire the shit out of each other. I love to hear that. Where did you guys meet, or how did you guys meet?
Great question.
Is this another one of those, next question, pass, punt?
It's a funny story.
It is. Well, mutual friends, obviously. We both have a lot of military friends. So we met up in LA, and then that's where I was living at the time.
Yeah.
And then I was on Tinder. I was single. Mike was single. I see him on Tinder, and I double liked him because I'm like, oh, you look familiar.
Super like.
Super like. Yeah.
That's a thing? Mm-hmm. You can super like a motherfucker.
Someone.
All right.
I was not aware of that.
He did not super like me back. So then I was like, what the hell, dude?
That's classic reverse psychology. You ignored the hot chick and now, okay.
Yep.
I mean, nothing changes.
It worked. So we were like, oh, let's hang out. He's like, yeah, come down. I'm like, yeah, I'll bring some friends with me, since we're friends.
Yeah.
I was not going to bring any friends with me. So the last minute, I'm like, oh, my friend's canceled. Is it okay if it's still just me? He's like, of course, come down.
You're like, nah,
I'll take you on.
You sure you can't find somebody to bring?
Yeah.
You can crash on my couch.
Yeah, that's right. Totally.
I got a spare room.
Yeah, I'll take you on Mikey's dive bar tour. I'm like, oh, okay.
Is that a thing?
You want to...
It was then, right?
Yeah, which is funny because we kind of started that when I was an instructor in first phase.
Yeah.
And once we would end a class, we would kind of go on a little dive bar tour. So each instructor would kind of get to pick one bar, their favorite bar around San Diego. A couple times we'd get a little party bus and take us around. And so it was pretty fun. So it just kind of became a little tradition. And I'm a big fan of dive bars.
Yeah.
It's always... You go into these like fancy club bars, and most of them go out of business within 5 years anyway, because people are like, oh, let's go in there. It's really cool. But you go into a good dive bar, you can just sit there, chill, look around. There's a lot of history.
Yeah. The Aero Club is very much that way. You guys ever go to that?
We hit that, the Aero Club.
Yeah, the Aero Club,
that
definitely.
Was on Mikey's dive bar tour.
It has the biggest selection of whiskey.
Is that right?
Yeah, on the western side of the Mississippi. At least that's what they claim.
It's probably bullshit, but I'd be willing to give it a shot.
They do have a lot of whiskey in there.
Hey, I'm gonna have to.
That was our last stop before I totally blacked out for that. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was actually something he put in your drink. Let me show you Mikey's dive bar. Hey, why don't you go to the bathroom while I fucking doctor your drink up? So from that point on, was it like you guys hit it off and that was it, or
yeah?
Yep.
I kept driving down 5 hours every Friday after work to go to San Diego just to see this dude. So
this guy, how long ago was that? How long have you guys been dating?
3 years now.
Yeah, going on 3 years.
Yeah.
3 fucking years.
3 years, 3.5, yeah.
That's awesome. One of the questions I ask everybody, I'd love to know your guys' morning routine, just kind of the regular morning routine, not when you're traveling or whatever, but when you guys are in San Diego at home, what does the morning look like, both when you get up Do you work out? If you do eat, what do you eat? The first few hours of your day, what's that stack up like?
Well, I definitely wouldn't consider myself an early riser.
You and me both.
But unfortunately, when you own a business, you have to wake up early. So especially now running all the social medias, you have to post early in the morning. So we usually get up about 5:30. Getting posts together, checking emails. So we get, post out around 6 a.m. Mm-hmm. Definitely coffee. First thing, get up, bang, throw the coffee pot on, throw the TV on. I think it's always good to stay up with current events. It's so kind of just have the TV going on in the background, get the coffee going, getting the post up, checking the emails, making sure everything's ready for the day. And really, with marketing right now, social media is really the biggest platform, that we use with our brand. Sure. So a lot of it's just making sure everything is set in place for the day, just with all our social media and
then
putting
planning
out
for
fires.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I know. I mean, to your point on the social media being the biggest platform, like it's astounding to me how integral that element of business is now. I mean, I remember when you guys did the Legend. Holy fuck! Like, I mean, that I think is textbook like viral example. Like, it was. I couldn't believe the fucking reach. People wearing those shirts everywhere, myself included. Like, but that element of having your shit together and posting at the right time and content being a certain way and boosting versus advertising and all that other shit. Like, there's so much value to it, and it's so important to have people that knows all of that elements to it. But do you guys eat at all in the morning, or you just do coffee?
Normally we just do coffee unless
I mean, it's kind of, I would say I'm on more of probably a routine. I think we both are kind of like, if we're hungry, we eat, if we don't, we don't. Yeah. I'm more of a shake guy in the morning, protein shake. Yeah. I'd say you usually don't eat usually.
Yeah, just
she just waits until she gets hungry at lunch or so. Mm-hmm. But I'm more of just usually a protein shake guy. Sometimes I'll do the bacon and eggs, and mix it up.
Yeah, I'm kind of that same way. Some mornings I eat, some I don't. Mm-hmm. But do you guys work out in the morning first thing? Or?
Well, I'm a morning.
She likes to work out in the morning.
I love it.
I am a night owl for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think last night I went to bed at 2 a.m. Yeah. Like, I just cannot fall asleep. Yeah. I usually get a lot of stuff done usually later in the day, in particular, and most people, 8, 9 o'clock. Yeah. And for some reason, my brain just keeps ticking then. Mm-hmm. So
I'm the exact same way. For me, my body doesn't work like the first 3-4 hours. It's like, dude, if I put any type of significant weight on, if I get under any significant weight, every fucking thing hurts, like, whereas in the afternoon, it's a totally different ball game. But similarly, like, I'll stay up till 1, 2, most nights and sleep later. Like, I think some people are just wired that way. Like, I'm not the Jocko 4:30 fucking, workout and then, hammer through shit. I can't imagine that guy's fucking staying up till 2 a.m. either. It'd fucking kill you. But
yeah, we hike a lot. We go to our gym. We swim a lot, because we do a lot of free diving. Yeah. So we're always working on breath holds, doing laps. And
do you guys live by the coast or more inland?
We're in Mission Valley, so out by the stadium.
Coast,
yeah. So I mean, you can be there in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Well, good shit. All right. So, anything else morning routine wise that's worth throwing in? Do you get dressed?
Run.
Do you bother getting dressed?
I just walk around naked most of the time with the windows open.
Flying squirrel display,
waving at the neighbors. Hey, what's happening?
That's good shit. All right. So, childhood. Where are you from?
Originally, I grew up in Pennsylvania, in central Pennsylvania, a small town called Port Allegany. It's about the size of this town here, I guess, 3,000 people or so. Yeah. Just real small town, small town values. I grew up big hunting area. If you ever seen The Deer Hunter with Robert De Niro, it's all filmed, Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah.
So it's funny. I said to my dad, like, growing up, I was like, you ever notice when they film a movie about like hard times and stuff, it's usually like real close to us in Pennsylvania.
It's our back fucking yard.
The Deer Hunter? What are you talking about? That's a great movie about hunting. Yeah. It's like all the right moves with Tom Cruise, where he's fighting to get his college football scholarship, fighting out of the steel mills, It's like, he's like, yeah, what a great movie. I'm like, well, I think the gist of the movie, the underlining issue is, the kid fighting to get out of the small town.
It's not where he's from so much, or where it takes place.
But it was a great place to grow up, though. It's a lot of, patriotic Americans that are just real blue collar, a lot of factories. But it's sad now, too, to see a lot of the factories are closed down. Mm-hmm. It was in the 80s, it was just booming. Like you could quit high school and go get a job at one of the glass factories or steel factories. You make over $20 an hour. You didn't even need to have a college or a high school diploma. Yeah. And to now just seeing those factories shut down, it's in American industry just shipped out of the country. It's sad. It's one of those towns where you drive through now, it just looks like a ghost town. Mm-hmm. Half the stores on the streets are closed down. And half the factories are closed down.
Would you say, could you put a percentage on manufacturing as a collective whole? Like how much of it is gone now compared to when it was booming in the 80s?
I would say personally in, the town I grew up in, I would say it's over 50%.
Wow. Yeah. Well, coal's real big too in Pennsylvania. Right?
Coal is big in Pennsylvania, not where I grew up at, but coal is big in Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Yeah. But obviously, there's a lot of restrictions with coal right now, and just the word coal is,
it's a four-letter
it's
word.
Bad. It's bad.
Yeah. Wrestling is big in Pennsylvania too, right?
Yeah, I wrestled from the time I was a little kid all the way through high school. Wrestling was a huge part of my life growing up. I played a lot of sports, mainly wrestling, football, baseball.
Yeah. I know, being from Iowa, like Iowa and Penn State, is a huge
big rivalry.
But Penn State's fucking, I think for the next 20, 25 years, nobody's going to fucking touch them, with their head coach and his ability to recruit and coach. Like, I'd put him up as being probably the best wrestler of all time. I mean, him and Gable, you could argue, are of the same, cut from the same cloth. But the job that he's done, it pisses me off that he left Iowa State. I get why he did, but the fucking job that Sanderson's doing at Penn State's fucking remarkable. I went to an Iowa-Penn State meet a couple of years ago, and Iowa actually beat them. I don't think they'll ever beat them, probably for the next 20 fucking years, but the energy in that place, whatever, it was awesome. I'm not trying to get sidetracked here. Anyway, Pennsylvania, great state. You're a big Steelers fan, right?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, die hard.
You can ask her.
Jesus Christ. His whole family is like, oh, my God.
Yeah, we get a little amped up during Steeler games.
Did the anthem stuff in the kneel? Because I know there was a former Ranger on the team, right, that got involved in some of the controversy. Like, did that impact your desire to give a fuck about football at all?
Yeah, it did a lot. And
we were actually at
interesting
that game.
Story.
Yeah.
We were actually at the game in Chicago, and Sam, she's from Chicago. Her dad's a police officer out there, and some of the guys had season tickets. They knew I was a big Steeler fan, even though they were Bears fans. They invited us to the game, and we go to grab breakfast before the game. We're sitting in a diner across from Soldier Field, and somebody says, "Hey, did you hear the Steelers are going to stay in the locker room during the national anthem?" And I was like, yeah, right. I thought he was, I had my Steeler gear on. I'm like, yeah, he's just making a joke, right? Yeah. So then I hear another person say it. So I get on my phone, and obviously it's trending. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Right? Yeah. You got to be kidding me. And the first person I think of is Al, Villanueva. And we've actually got to meet him and hang out with him a few times, and really great dude, and, along with a lot of the other Steelers. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I was just thinking in my mind, like, this has got to be just such a terrible situation for him. If you've got guys in there that want to, take a knee or knock him out, and then, where's that going to put him at?
Yeah.
And once we got to the stadium, it became bigger than the game even. Yeah. Like, it became bigger than the game.
Everyone turned their backs on the Steelers when they did come out. Everyone turned their backs.
it was pretty embarrassing being a Steeler fan, sitting in that stadium. It's Soldier Field.
Yeah.
Soldier Field.
Of
all places. And I mean, it was great to see Al come out of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like that was great. It was great that the captains, like, he let them know, like, hey, you know, guys, I have to go out there. I have to do this. And they were cool with him doing that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. I just think how they handled it, definitely how the Steelers handled it. Obviously, it was such a big, you know, deal and big controversy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it could have been handled better.
Yeah.
You know, some guys wanted to take a stand for what they believed in. Other guys wanted to take a stand for what they believed in. And it obviously put Al in a really bad situation in the fact that, you know, at first people were like, that's the greatest thing ever. You know, he was trending. His jersey was the number one selling jersey. Yeah. And then, you know, a couple days later, he doesn't want to feel like, you know, he's making his teammates look bad, just as you would feel like in the teams. Yeah. So he comes out with an apology. And, you know, a lot of people were then trashing him. Yeah. You're like, oh, you never apologized for standing, you know. And I think it was just a tough situation for him in the fact that, you know, he was a guy who was cut many times. And his NFL career was basically over. And Mike Tomlin had seen him across the field when he was with the Eagles at a preseason game. And he was saluting during the national anthem. And that's he barely even played in the game. Yeah. And Mike Tomlin said, why is that guy saluting? And give me a little background on that guy. Plus, he's taller than every player on the field.
Yeah. He's like fucking 7 feet tall.
Dude, he's so big.
I don't know how the fuck he was a Ranger.
That's who he was a joke about it, because I met a couple guys that were, you know, in the Rangers with him. And, you know, they're my size. You know, I'm 5'6". Yeah. And they're like, dude.
Are you that tall?
They're like, man, you really didn't want to grab Al during a down man drill.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you even fit in the Humvee? You know what I mean? Like, you have to throw him up in the turret.
He's not riding in a fucking little bird either.
Right.
Jesus. Yeah, that whole situation pissed me off. And, you know, I had the Patriots center, David Andrews, on earlier, or last year, a little, not quite a year ago, I guess. And we talked a little bit about it, and it is just a shitty situation. I grew up, you know, being a huge football fan, and played up until high school when I was too fucking small to make a difference or even not get fucking murdered, and ended up just swimming all through high school. But, you know, I've always been a fan of the sport, and not to where, you know, I'm memorizing stats and rocking jerseys and shit necessarily, but I do love the game, and I hate to see the politics get infused. I think the whole NFL should have handled it way better than they did, you know. But anyway, not to get too one-sided here, Miss Sam,
where are on the show, Mike?
Yeah, where are you from?
All over. So I was born in Kentucky, actually, but my dad, he was a Marine, so we moved around a lot from state to state. Ended up in Illinois when he took a police job there, and I grew up there. So
mostly in Illinois?
Yeah, that's where I went to school. Suburbs, so Aurora, Aurora, Illinois.
Oh, that's interesting. What was the impact that your dad being a Marine growing up? I'm assuming that had
everything. Yeah. Everything.
Is he still a total hard ass?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
What does he think about
his gig line? His gig line is straight.
For those of you asking,
he's not just a Marine. He's a former Marine, not ex-Marine.
Yeah.
Former Marine. He's also a law enforcement officer, a very successful law enforcement officer, and he's also an attorney.
So he's super laid back and smokes a lot of weed,
totally.
Right? That's what we're saying. So obviously that had a big impact. In terms of that relationship, I'm curious, as a father of daughters myself, what was that like growing up? Was he kind of ruled with an iron fist, or just super hard, or what was that like?
He did, but I have the utmost respect for my dad, and I think it's great that he did. It's funny because I went one way and my sister went the rebellious way. Yeah. So for me, I listened to everything he said. I wasn't sneaking out of my own house, that's for sure, when I was a kid.
You're not getting back in, mother.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I was just worried about getting my ass beat. My sister was the opposite.
Is she older or younger?
Younger. Yeah. So, but yeah, he had a lot to do with me going to the Marine Corps. He was like, I think you should go Air Force. When I first told him, he's like, it's a lot easier. I'm like, okay, now I'm really going Marine Corps,
Yeah. To me, it's just it's who you're surrounded by is why I would recommend if my daughters were asking about services, which they actually have. I told them the same thing. I was like, I got it. If you're hell bent on it, you should go into the Air Force, sweetheart, because then you're not going to be surrounded by assholes like me and Mike. But at any rate.
But he did influence me to do intel. You know, he's like, at least take a good job if you're going to be a Marine. That way, if you do get out, you can do something really neat. You know, have the clearance.
Yeah. Did you play sports growing up?
You know what? I didn't.
Really?
I'm like totally opposite from Mike.
Yeah.
I wrote for the newspaper, the school newspaper.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, I wrote comic book reviews. I know. I wrote comic book reviews. So I was like going to Comic-Con every year. Loved comic books.
Goddamn Lois Lane over here.
I know. So I tried out for volleyball once. I didn't make the team, and thank God because I sucked. I would have ruined their record for sure.
Hence, you didn't make the team.
Yeah. So I was kind of dorky a little bit.
Any hobbies other than journalism?
You know, I did a lot of writing. I played guitar, actually. I played violin, I played guitar, I played bass guitar.
Do you still play at all?
A little bit.
I got a guitar in the fucking...
Do you really?
I do, yeah. I do. I mean, I just fuck around with it. I'm, you know, certainly not a musician by any stretch. I just enjoy fiddle fucking around with it. But what type of music did you play? Guitar-wise.
Guitar-wise? I guess like classic rock. You know, my parents...
Fucking AC/DC and all that shit like that? Yeah. You can play that?
Yeah.
All right.
No.
We're going to bring that motherfucker out here in a minute, put you on the spot.
My dad was totally like 80s hair metal, so I think that's why we do get along so well. We go to concerts all the time.
Yeah, I see pictures of you
my
guys
God,
post
we
like
love...
the fucking... Yeah, it's like straight out of a Whitesnake 1989
Totally.
concert.
Yeah, we'll get dressed up. It's hysterical. He puts on the guy liner. We're like ready.
It's fucking great.
I'm actually... The hairspray.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've got some travel questions in here because, you know, again, some of the things that you guys post. I'm actually surprised you guys don't have a fucking reality show yet. Like, dude,
everyone says it's so
I mean, honestly, like with the fucking shenanigans you guys pull, I'm like, you could just hire somebody to walk around with a fucking GoPro and probably crush it on YouTube.
The thing is with that is what I post, I crop a lot out.
Yeah.
You don't see the bad shit, you know, and us arguing and him saying, get the fuck in the water and stuff like that.
You should keep that in there. Yeah.
So one time I did post that video, remember, when I'm like, he always wants to go off the trail. Yeah. We can never just go for a leisurely hike ever. It has to be,
the road not taken.
Yeah. I heard there's a gold mine back here. We have to go find it. Some mine shaft, some abandoned mine shaft. We have to go find it. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude?
I heard there's diamonds over here. Motherfucker, we're in Arizona. No, that's what I heard.
Yep.
It's
so we're
9
always
miles
going
straight
off
up this
the trail.
fucking hill.
I would say, you know, the greater the approach, the better the reward.
Fucking A,
if it's easy to get to. If there's a paved road leading to it, it's probably not that good of a reward.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, people see the videos we post, Adventures of Mikey and Sambo, and they see the good parts, like, oh, I want to go and do that. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know how hard we had to travel to get to that spot, you know?
So to me, like, that's that's one of the elements of like my online training for dog, teamdog.pet. Is that like a lot of the lessons that I have, like, they're not rehearsed. It's the first time I've been doing it with a dog, and I show me fucking up, or my timing's off, or the dog does something totally fucking unexpected or whatever, and I keep it in there because it's real. I mean, do you guys have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, we do.
I mean, to me, like, not that it's any of my fucking business, but I would balance it out and just post every time you guys do something. Put the bad shit in there because people love that shit. I can tell you from experience, like. It's one of the biggest reasons I think my online training is done as well as it is because, you know, whether it's you're traveling, whether you're training a dog, like, there's a real element to it that, you know, you just usually don't see, you know, from most people for that same thing. You get the brochure aspect and people want to see, like, the struggle, the fucking fights, you know, we got lost, or, you know, she called you a dick and you called her a bitch, and, you know, whatever. Like, I don't know. That's my advice. Not that you're asking, but I'm good at giving unsolicited
really well
advice.
as a team, though. Like, everything we do is so challenging that we have to work as a team. And it's funny because whenever we are on a vacation, we'll do like kayaking and stuff, and you can really tell. Like, the people, they just got married and they didn't spend that much time together, and they're fucking yelling at each other as they're kayaking. They're both way off. Remember, she fell out. She's fucking screaming at them. We're like...
So you guys fuck with them?
Oh yeah. And it's funny, too, when you hear people... Because it's very easy to, you know, look at someone's social media or YouTube and say, wow, you know what? We don't travel... We want to get out and do more. I want a picture on top of a mountain, you know, or I want a picture with a shark behind me, or I want to be there, you know, I want to be on the gun range. And And like I said, it is all fun. I compare it. It's like in the teams. Like people. You watch a commercial on TV, and it's 30 seconds of dudes doing an OTB coming over the beach and firing guns, and you're like, that's the coolest thing in the world. I want to go do that. But then you start doing a little OTB training, and you're wet and cold and there, and you're like, oh my god, this is a lot harder than it looks.
The brochure shows you the 15% cool shit, not the 85 fucking being covered in mud and freezing and. It's the RNS, the 5 days of recon that, there's 10 seconds of fucking cool shit prior to doing the DA follow on with it. But there's, 4 days of laying in the mud being fucking miserable that nobody ever sees. But anyway, like to me, like I said, I think if there's one recommendation I would make is throw some of that real shit in there. Do you when you encounter these other couples, do you ever try to rub it in that you guys are way cooler than they are? They're like, hey, it only gets worse from here.
You know what though? We don't even have to. Like, we went to Aruba and we were free diving and the waves were just terrible. And what ship was that sunk in? Remember?
It
was an old German ship.
Yeah, it was a
and
German
you really have
battleship.
to dive deep to see it, and the waves are going like crazy. We're the only people that jumped in and were like swimming out there to get to this thing. Remember that? So,
it was some pretty crazy current, and it was just on your average, little snorkel boat to go out there. My parents were with us, and I'm trying to drag my 65-year-old mom in the water, and she looks over and she's like, there's white caps out there.
Yeah.
Come on, it's gonna be cool. And the ship ended up, I free dove down to it. I mean, it was probably at least,
it was deep,
probably 60, 70 feet down.
And it was so cool. It was cool, and none of those people got to see it.
Yeah.
It's like, so we get back to the boat and everyone's like, wow, you guys are really cool. We're like, we know.
Where was this at?
Aruba.
Mm-hmm. Where's is there a place that you've been to, maybe it's impossible to pick, that's like favorite place that you guys have been to?
For me, it's funny, Cozumel. I love Mexico. It's the best water for diving, free diving. I love Mexico.
Yeah,
it's
I
easy
think
for me.
Yeah, for me, any place I think both of us can say, we love being in the water.
Yeah.
Warm, clear water is usually the best water to be
cold,
in.
murky
But
bullshit.
in Mexico, they have those cenotes, where you can dive in the caves, and there's tons
down
of them.
in
There's
the
hundreds.
Yucatan is really nice. It's kind of an area, Cancun area kind of has the persona of just being this big spring break party drunk area. I mean, there's definitely that element to it.
Yeah.
But if you get off the resort there, we go out to, there's an island real close to Cancun called Isla Mujeres, and you can actually go out there and swim with whale sharks.
They've got all the underwater statues. You can just snorkel, free dive too. It's super cool, and not a lot of people do that.
Yeah, you can. You drive an hour south. You're down to Playa del Carmen. There's
all the ruins.
Yeah, there's some beaches down there. You go like another 45 minutes. You're at Tulum. You're at the Mayan ruins down there. And you can go east, Chichen Itza. It's actually one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yeah.
So and you get the whole jungle element to it down in the Yucatan. Like Sam was saying, there's these cenotes down there that are these underwater caverns that you can dive in that are
coolest
pretty
thing
awesome.
ever.
Yeah. There's all these fossils in there. You see like these alligator teeth and stuff.
Do you guys take GoPros or shit like that? I mean, like you have a lot of that on camera or film?
Yeah, a lot of this is on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, I guess the biggest problem with that is we have so much footage now. Like we have entire trips
that we've not even
that we haven't even posted, or it's all the post production editing, all the stuff as team guys
forever.
we're not really good at.
No, I know it.
It's you go to Intel and have them get all this stuff for you. You're all about the actions on the target.
And then he just gives me the footage and is like, edit this.
Yeah, that's no shit. So here we are getting sidetracked again. For me, like I love to travel and I'm fascinated by it. I love to see all the shit that you do. So it's easy for me to go down that rabbit hole. But bringing it back a little bit to in terms of both of you, when you obviously your dad was a Marine and that was a big motivation to serve. On your end, what was there any catalyst in high school that made you decide A, I want to join, B, I want to be a SEAL?
I'm from a blue-collar family. My dad is probably one of the hardest working men on the planet. He wasn't in the military, but I'm from a long line of construction workers, mainly concrete. Mm-hmm. And so growing up, in the summers, I would work for my dad, doing a lot of, raking concrete, screeding concrete, working on, big job sites, when you're a kid and you're 14 years old, 13 years old, and, you're working on a job site with, backhoe buckets swinging around, things falling from the ceiling. Yeah. It gets real quick. Yeah. And so I did that. And I think my dad definitely gave me a great work ethic. Yeah, and my dad, my grandfather, my brother, everybody in our family, just like I said, from being a little kid, I remember getting like a pick and a shovel for Christmas one year when I was a kid. Yeah. So the work ethic, I definitely gained that from my father for sure. And like I said, I played a lot of sports in high school. I had, for wrestling, there was some colleges interested in me, but I just did not feel like, if I would have went to college, it would have been just to wrestle. Yeah. At that point in my life, I just really wasn't interested in pursuing education. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was just like, I'd say getting by in high school. Yeah. So I was looking into other options. If I wasn't going to wrestle, I wasn't going to go to college. And my brother was already in college wrestling at the time. And he wasn't like the biggest on education either. Yeah. So I kind of like looked at his situation. I was like, man, what else could I do? And I'd always been interested in scuba diving and skydiving and adventure stuff. Actually, the first thing I ever wanted to be was a stuntman. But it was like when you live in a small town in Pennsylvania and, you go to career day and ask your guidance counselor, what do you want to be? I'm like, a stuntman.
Like, we've got like 9 of them over here.
What does a stuntman do? Jump out of planes and scuba dive, get shot out of a cannon, jump out of helicopters. Like, well, let me get back to you on that.
We don't have any of those.
So I'd actually, a friend of my brother's actually had gone through BUD/S and was back home on leave over Christmas. He was actually still in BUD/S, I believe, at the time. And of course, like every kid in BUD/S, they're talking like, they know everything in the teams. Yeah. But it was enough to inspire me. I remember he was like, I'm in Navy SEAL training, and he's over at my house drinking with my brother, and he's wearing his camis and drinking out of a canteen, which I thought was cool at the time.
Yeah, now you're like, God, what a douche.
And I'm like Navy SEALs, like that movie with Charlie Sheen, like that's real. Yeah. Like, I remember seeing the movie, but I didn't know if it was Attack Force Z or, something they just made up. But he was like, yeah, man, it's great. We're like a wrestling team with machine guns and blow shit up. And I thought, well, that sounds really cool. I was like, what do you got to do? What are the prerequisites and everything? So he started telling me about it, and that really sparked my interest. And then obviously, my parents found out, and they were really supportive of it. And I think my dad actually had bought me the Rogue Warrior book. Yeah. And there had actually been, being from a small town, I mean, we have about 100 people in our graduating class. We've had probably a half dozen team guys from my high school.
Wow, really?
And even the surrounding towns, some well-noted team guys as well. Yeah. And so it wasn't hard to find information out about the teams.
Yeah. What did the guy that inspired you, did he make it? Did he end up being a team guy?
There was actually 2 guys. One of them did not. Yeah. The other one did and finished out his career as a Master Chief over at Dev Group. The other one did not. He actually, the guy was a stud. He'd made it through Hell Week and pretty far and got in some trouble.
Yeah, this was the guy drinking from the...
Yeah, drinking from the canteen.
Surprise! Shocker, he didn't make the cut. Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. All right, so you went right out of high school, right? Or close to it?
I didn't go right out of high school. I spent some time working for my dad doing construction for a bit, and then I decided to take a little time and enjoy. I think Woodstock with '94 reunion was going on that year, so I decided I would just wait a little while, go enjoy that.
And wait 30 days at least after that.
Yeah, I had to wait a little while after that. And I actually had to change my rate because of it, because I'd already joined up. Hey, I'm ready to go. And they call my recruiter like, yeah, you know what? I just got tickets to this concert, and I don't think I'm going to go yet.
God, that's priceless.
So he was like, well, you might lose your rating. And I think I was supposed to be a gunner's mate at that time. And I was like, well, fuck it. What am I going to be? And he's like, well, if you want a source rating, and he actually was like, you can be a torpedo man's mate. Like, what is that? And he's like, well, it's like a gunner's mate. Instead of guns, you have torpedoes, But I actually got kind of lucky because, yeoman was like, source rating for the teams back then. So he probably could have just made me a yeoman, but he didn't.
Yeah. That's funny how life works out that way, no doubt about it. But I love the lack of priority in a good way. Like it to me again, it's the realness of a lot of people would hear that and be like, Jesus Christ, dude was a SEAL, and he let Woodstock determine like fucking shit like that happens. I love it. On your end, Sam, did you join right out of high school?
I did.
You did. And what was there like a process in high school where you like decided as a sophomore and did the delayed entry or anything like that, or what?
Yeah, I decided, I guess, when I was a junior that I was going to go. I actually intended on going to college, and I was in honors classes. Obviously, I was a dork.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I think I need to go to the military, because I'll pay for your school, all these benefits. So I definitely wanted my school paid for. Because my dad's like, you can go to community college if you don't go into the military.
Yeah.
So I went right out of high school.
Yeah. And can you kind of synopsize your experience as a Marine?
There is nothing that I can ever do that will compare to being in the Marine Corps that I will be more proud of. That's for sure.
Fucking A.
I love being Marine.
Yeah.
It was the greatest thing.
What was boot camp like coming from, obviously your dad having an influence, and I have no doubt that there was elements of that structure and stuff growing up, but was it like, holy fuck, was it like, obviously we never went through Marine boot camp. You see all the movies and what is it? Was it just like that for you?
Exactly what you see.
Yeah. Next step, was it just like, holy fuck,
choke yourself?
Yeah, it was.
That's my line, goddammit.
It was insane. Just constantly screaming. You're talking in third person for 3 months straight. I was still doing it even when I got out. I still don't walk on grass like this motherfucker. When he walks on grass,
with his hands in his pockets.
The grass. Yeah, with his hands on his pockets and his earphones in.
No shave.
Yeah, no shave. My dad still is like, he needs to shave.
Yeah. You don't even walk on the grass when you're mowing the yard, do you? You're like sidewalking.
Yeah, so it sticks with you. You know, they definitely, but it's great. I love it.
Where did you go through boot camp?
Paris Island.
Paris. That's some miserable fucking weather there, yeah?
Oh my God. And it was in July. It was just freaking awful.
Yeah.
Is
it the sand flies that are real bad?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, fuck that noise.
Yep.
I'll always default to San Diego on that one. In terms, so we went through the same intelligence school in Virginia Beach. Mm-hmm. From there, where did you go after that?
From there, I went to Cherry Point.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first duty station.
Yeah.
And it was, Cherry Point's, it's all right.
Yeah.
Were you in North Carolina at all?
No, never stationed there. I went through a couple of secret squirrel schools there for naval special warfare intelligence.
It's not California.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Some good barbecue there, though. Yeah. Were you there the whole time?
Yeah, so it's basically strip clubs and Cracker Barrels and car dealerships. And
God bless
tattoo
America.
Shops.
If I can drive my Mustang to Cracker Barrel and hit the strip club afterwards. What would you say was kind of the biggest takeaway from your time in the Marine Corps as an intelligence specialist there, as it relates to your day-to-day life? Like, what were the kind of the takeaways?
Oh, pretty much everything that I learned in the Marine Corps, I apply every day, just to stay motivated, the discipline, respect. That's the biggest thing whenever I run into someone. They're like, you are just so respectful.
Yeah.
Military. So.
I'm assuming a lot of people, are they surprised that you were a Marine when they first meet you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was. I was like, God damn, you're in the Marines? No shit. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, definitely a lot of the Marines we ran into weren't as easy on the eyes.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah, it's no shit. The that element of that, I think, is a cool lead into everything else that you're doing that we'll get into here in just a minute. Back to Mike real quick. Obviously, you and I, kind of paralleled each other a lot. I couldn't remember. Did you you went to your A school and then went to Buds? Were you in class 214 or 13 originally?
I was originally, I went through Hell Week with 212.
Okay.
So I was in 212, 213, and 214. I actually graduated with 214.
Okay.
So you have to remember, did you start in 213?
No, so I started in 214 and then graduated 215. I was with 14 from day one until a week before the island.
Okay. Yeah. So I remember us being in the same buds class, and then it gets a blur.
For part of it.
It's like I remembered you being, and I thought you graduated with us.
Yeah. No, it was close. I mean, for me, I pinched my sciatic nerve at Laguna. And I'll never forget, like, you know, that takes, I don't know, I think there's a 6-hour time limit. And I pinched it during the land nav test, and like literally was limping, fucking hobbling, came across the finish line like 9 seconds late, you know, and instructor Ryan was like, fail. And I was like, fuck, fail? I was like, I'm 9 seconds late. He's like, yeah, it's 10 seconds later than you should have been. You fuck face, go sit down and have an MRE, and you got 15 minutes, you're going to go do it again. And I was like, God damn it. And somehow I managed to pass. I don't know how, but then I failed everything after that, so I ended up getting.
Was that at Mount Laguna?
Yeah.
Is that when they made us run a 4-mile time run in Mount Laguna? Was that it?
Fuck, I don't even remember. That whole place was. I tried to block it out.
I remember having to run. I believe it was like a 4-mile time.
Yeah.
If Phil Ryan wake us up early every morning, go and do PT. It'd be cold as hell out there in some gravel parking lot.
Fucking horrible. Soak that puddle up over there.
Yeah, I do remember doing some crazy run up at Mount Laguna. I do remember that.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. Like I said, I've blocked a lot of that fucking trip out just because it was so fucking miserable. But all right, so you went to which team did you go to? Was it 5?
No, after Buds, I actually went to the East Coast. So I was Team 2 on the East Coast was the first team that I checked into.
Yeah.
And, you know, back then, you know, Team 2 and Team 1 had their little quirks, you know.
Yeah.
No fun one. And SEAL Team Shoe.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so you were on the East Coast until you came back as an instructor, right?
Yes. Yeah, I was at Team 2, and I was actually deployed. So I did 2 deployments at Team 2.
Yeah.
And I was actually deployed during 9/11.
Yeah.
And it was, so I was in Germany, right during, we were getting ready to go do an exercise, and we were heading to the airport, or we picked up at the unit, and we're all on a bus, and XO comes running in and was like, hey, you know, a plane just ran into the Twin Towers.
Yeah.
And we're like, really?
While you were in Germany?
Yeah, while we were in Germany. And when the first one hit, no one really knew if it was an accident or what was going on. So he just let us know, and then we started driving to the airport, and then boom, the people started getting fed more information. We turned the bus around. We come back to the unit. At this point, you know, you're like, hey, I'm deployed right now. The balloon just went up.
Yeah.
Like, this is like where we need to be right now. So we actually got extended on deployment for a couple months, and they sent in the next platoon. I mean, we were jocked up at the unit. We had every insertion platform there. We had, you know, and we were actually getting ready to go do an exercise with Dev Group. So, you know, one of the Dev Group assault teams was actually over there. And, you know, so we were like, all right, this is great. You know, so these guys are here, we're here. But as soon as those guys actually went back home, we knew, like, well, if they're going home, then we're definitely going to be heading back home too. So it was kind of a disappointment to be heading home, because we all thought back then, like, oh, this war is going to be over in 6 months. They're going to go kill this Osama bin Laden guy we just heard of, and the whole war is going to be over. We missed it. Yeah. So when I got back, actually, it was during that whole Force 21 movement. I mean, all the teams had shifted, and since our platoon had got extended on deployment, we just kind of got left out. Yeah. Like, we got back to the team, and they're like, oh, you're not here anymore. So we're just standing there like, what do you mean? And and you're on stop loss also, because
you can't get out either.
My time had already expired, and I didn't know what to do. And you're like, oh, you're on stop loss. And luckily, the commanding officer at Team 2 at the time, he was a great team guy. He actually made Admiral. And he was like, hey, Mike, I heard you did a great job on deployment. And guess what? Teammates looking for a guy over there. You just go in and check in. They're going to Afghanistan. Yeah. But, I mean, they were just at the beginning of their workup. So I head over there. I mean, I literally just got off deployment from a plane, and I head over to teammate, just walk up in the platoon. Who are you? Oh, Mike says, oh, I heard you're in our platoon. Hey, we're getting ready to go take some Zodiacs out and do some amphib ops. And, of course, okay. Yeah. I literally just got back from deployment. Everybody else is going on leave. It was funny because I was I was in charge of all the Zodiacs and everything. You know, you guys call it first lieutenant. You know, we call it engineering on the East Coast. So we're getting ready to, you know, I'm, instead of saying like, hey, I just got back, you know, maybe I can take some leave. I was like, okay, sounds good. And they start briefing, and the engineering rep at the time is like, oh, we don't have enough boats. We don't have this. We don't. And I was like, hey, I actually got all these boats, like all this brand new stuff. And so I go, all right. So I go over and get all this gear. So all of a sudden, and I go from being the new guy in the platoon to the coolest guy in the platoon. Yeah. So then I'm riding in a boat with the chief, and he's asking me some questions, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I just got back today." He's like, "You just got back from deployment today?" I was like, "Yeah, we were actually deployed. We spent a couple extra months over there." So he's like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "No."
Goddamn.
So he's like, "You know what?" He's like, "Just disappear for a while and just check in with me every day and make sure I know you're alive."
Damn, that's a fucking crazy swap. What? So speaking of 9/11, where were you at during that?
I was in 4th grade.
Holy fucking Christ. Are we that old?
Seriously, I was getting ready to go to school. I remember it too. Or
4th fucking grade.
Yeah. And Jesus. I'm eating breakfast, waiting to go to school.
I got to take a break. Fucking Christ, 4th grade. That makes me feel fucking horribly old. Now I got to know. I mean, like, you're not, here's what I find, here's the first thing I think of that is that you and I were in SEAL platoons at the time because I was at SEAL Team 3, and same thing. Force 21 was fucking everything up, and so we were waiting a couple of months to form up as a team under the new organization. But I was in between platoons, but I was at a SEAL team, and we can all remember when the video of President Bush at the time reading to the elementary school kids, like, you and I were in SEAL platoons. You were could have been one of the kids he was fucking reading to. Like, it's just, it's hard to wrap my mind around that much time has transpired. But holy shit. So sorry, I didn't mean to steal the mic here, but tell us what that was like.
Oh, in 4th grade?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't go to school that day. I had a lot of family in New York. My dad's from New York. So we were just like, oh my God, just calling our family members, and it was scary, it was.
Yeah. What, at that time, like, did you realize the gravity of it as a 4th grader?
Probably not.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just worried about our family at the time and not thinking, is this a terrorist attack? That wasn't going through my mind.
Yeah.
Because we're just watching it. We saw the first plane, and we're like, oh my God, what's going on? And then you see the second plane, and then that's when everyone really starts panicking. Mm-hmm. The only thing that really sticks out is when you're seeing the people jump. That was like a nightmare to me, a continuous nightmare, because as a 4th grader, you're like, holy shit, You said holy shit.
Yeah,
maybe not a 4th grade, but.
So then my dad slapped the shit out of me.
Yeah, that was that sticks with you.
That's haunting. Yeah. No, I mean, it still does. I mean, that image is one that I think anybody who is even as a 4th grader, obviously old enough to have a coherent thought about what that actually meant is something I don't think any of us will ever let lapse. But
what's crazy to me is now kids are learning about it in their history books.
Yeah.
That's what I can't grasp. I'm like, that much time has gone by.
I know.
I mean.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. The other thing to think of is that there are people now serving in Afghanistan or probably close to it, at least in the military, that weren't born. During 9/11, like, that's fucking crazy. So yeah, same thing. Like, there's people that are. I mean, it's fucking 18 years. Like, there's probably people that are getting ready to go to Afghanistan that weren't alive when 9/11 happened, which is, it puts a lot of things in perspective. So
it makes us feel really old.
Yeah, in a good way. You're only as old as you feel. Well, I'm doubly fucked then because I feel old as shit. What was that like growing up as that being kind of a backdrop in terms of your thoughts about military service? Did that impact wanting to do it more or being more discouraged?
Well, yeah, sure. And I think it affects a lot of the mentality now. I feel like people forgot that happened,
Oh, for sure.
And I hate it when people are like, oh, war is dumb. We shouldn't be sending people over there. That whole mindset just pisses me off. It's like, do you not remember what happened?
Yeah.
That was the most patriotic that Americans have ever been. And now I feel like it's not that way in our country anymore. And it angers me, it really does.
Yeah. Well, I think, I've had this discussion. I mean, anybody that's not, and I'm not picking on people that haven't served. So for you, those of you getting your panties in a twist right now, that's not the case. But I think especially people that have deployed to those areas, but even just, served with people or are ingrained in communities with people that have served, there's an element that a lot of Americans just don't realize or understand that the evil that exists, it's irrespective of how we feel about it, and I think that's a lot of times a lot of Americans that are anti, from a foreign policy standpoint, anti-involvement, and I am maybe a little less hawkish than most, but for sure there's an element of you've got to handle business that exists in my thought process that's pretty prevalent, but a lot of times I think, people are very naive and they think like, well, I don't mean any harm, so I can go to these places and they're going to realize that like they don't give a fuck. Like they're at war with you whether you're at war with them or not. And that's really hard, I think, for a lot of Americans to understand. And as 9/11 becomes more and more of an afterthought to some of them, I think that is a disease that persists in our society more and more, and you see what you see because of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So you took some leave. Back to you, Mike. You took some leave after that, and then that next jumping in with that platoon. I mean, I know for me it was like not that we weren't training to go to war before then, but now it was like it's fucking go time. Was that kind of the thought process for you guys?
Yeah, it was definitely a more serious time in your training. And I had done some real world operations before that in Kosovo, and so it wasn't the first time that I actually gone outside the wire where there was actually bad guys out there. Yeah. I think it was more of the unknown element, because early in the war, when we went into Afghanistan, you were just kind of collecting your own intel a lot. We were doing a lot of recce stuff, just driving around with a lot of ODA teams, and that was kind of new for the SEAL teams as well. We were all about assaulting targets and direct action. Yeah. But as far as going out, gathering intel, we weren't real good at that. We weren't really involved at that. So there was a learning process, and which is kind of funny because we look back on it now and to think, team guys were innovators. Yeah. You were just handed a Humvee. It was a normal Humvee. So you would go out and just quickie saw that thing up, and like I remember we'd go to like Rod Hall off-road racing school. So over there, we're like, get your extra body armor plates and put them under your feet and we're good to go. Yeah. And you're driving
on the doors.
Yeah, so you're hanging a breacher blanket over and thinking, well, I'm safe now. Nothing bad's going to happen to me. Yeah. So it was definitely a learning process, and I think people do, training gets a little tired. Just like you said, it wasn't that we weren't training to go to war, but, when definitely like, your end result is you are going to be in Afghanistan. You're going to be there for 7 months, or the only other place you're going to go is over to Iraq to do the invasion or whatever. Yeah. But I think there is a different mindset where you just get more laser focused. Yeah. And even as far as I used to joke about like the new guys, when you were a new guy, pre 9/11, you'd get fucked with a lot. But then post 9/11, you'd fuck with the new guys, but then you realize this new guy's really going to be covering my ass in a year and a half. So
maybe I'm not going to fuck with him so much.
I want to make sure instead of fucking with this guy so much, maybe we go out on the range or go in the house and make sure this guy's really, really dialed in.
Yeah. No, I know it. So for you, from a deployment standpoint, did you go to Afghanistan with that platoon?
Yes.
Yeah. How was that? What can you tell us about that deployment?
It was a very good deployment. Like I said, it was early on in the war, so we were creating a lot of our intel. Yeah. Like I said, we worked a lot with a lot of the ODA teams, and we were based out of Kandahar, but we would basically get all the intel reports of which fire bases were hot, and we went out to Shkin and Tarankout and a lot of the other bases, fire bases that were hot out there. We would go out and work with the ODA teams that were out there, and we worked we had a really good relationship with the ODA teams that we worked with.
How was that a 7-month deployment there?
Yes. Yeah.
In terms of any like full mission profile or big missions that you did during that deployment, are there any that you can talk about or share?
We did a lot of direct action missions out there, and I don't know how much you're actually allowed to share.
I mean, for me, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I will say, I mean,
I mean, obviously, I've never wrote a book or wrote down any. It's just a bit odd, but I mean, we captured a couple high value targets over there that were, pretty exciting missions.
Yeah. Any significant injuries or any taking heavies on your guys' side at all?
We got in a couple gunfights over there. Nobody was seriously injured on our side of the. I mean, we were in a pretty bad ambush. A few of the ODA vehicles got blown up.
Yeah.
And we had some Jundies with us, and they were just in a Toyota Hilux, and we ended up having to actually calling CAS on the vehicles and just blow them up because they were hit by RPGs.
Oh, damn.
And luckily, I was actually one of the first vehicles through, so we had already gone into an overwatch position for the other vehicles to come through. So we were actually just returning fire. Yeah. We were basically the first people to get out of the fatal funnel and turn around and return fire. So it was a pretty big convoy. And obviously, you know how the roads out there in Afghanistan, like you call it a road, but it used to be like a river or just a wash. So it's not like you can drive that fast out of there even when you're getting shot at. So we called in quite a bit of CAS on the targets there. And then we went up and we actually took out quite a few people and went up and secured the position and found all the dead guys up there.
Yeah, that's good shit. When you were at Cherry Point doing the intel thing, was there any collaborative work between inter-service relationships? Any of the stuff that you did you ever end up working with any soft units or anything like that?
No, I didn't. So I worked for headquarters for the G2. So we would mainly just brief the generals on what's going on, brief pilots, debrief pilots, things like that. So. And
what was and I know, like especially in the intel world, there's a lot that you can't really talk about. But is there kind of a like not necessarily specific, but just kind of a general purpose, like this was my main gig that you were responsible for during?
Air intel. I mean, I guess towards the end, it was more Latin America that we were focused on when I was getting out, which was interesting. It kind of shifted. Yeah. A lot of stuff in Syria at the time. That was big.
What years were you in from?
2009 to 2013.
Okay. And so, I mean, that's definitely a pivotal shift. So Benghazi happened during that time. Did you guys have any involvement?
No, we didn't.
Yeah,
we didn't.
No. Can you talk at all about the focus that you had in both Syria and Latin America, or is that? That's
still, I mean, working at headquarters, I have to be careful because it was all TSSCI.
Yeah. That's top secret for those of you people listening that need to choke yourself. That's good stuff. I know, again, it's tough to talk about some of these things because there's a lot of shit that you can't share. But is any of the work, the follow-on work that you did as a private investigator, anything that you've done that you used a lot of the things that you learned?
So it's funny as you're bringing up 9/11, and I was in 4th grade, but even now it still carries over. Like I went to school for my master's in Homeland Security and Intelligence Studies and wrote my thesis on the policies that came after 9/11 and if they've had a significant impact in Homeland Security, if they're actually making a difference, to prevent something like that. Yeah. So it carries over, and especially with intel, me doing the private investigation work, I started working towards my license in that, which was awesome, but that was more, I did criminal defense with that.
Yeah. In terms of your thesis, I'm curious, what was the general consensus on your end as to whether or not the policies are working, or if they're not, what could be done better?
The thing is, I mean, they just don't update policies. You try to find like all the PDFs of policies to see if they have been updated, and they're kind of just, they're not.
So it's a lot like government technology, like it's always fucking a couple years behind.
They talk about things, talk about it, but nothing ever comes. It's just a long process. So I guess with TSA and all of that, they're doing a good job. That's what I found. But really with other stuff like Customs and Border Patrol, that's not really going anywhere,
Is there a Sam's top 3 things that she would do if she was president to unfuck this planet or the country?
That's so hard to say because right now I feel like I would get rid of a lot of people.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Thin the herd. The herd is thick.
That's hard to say. You know, like I said, just a lot of people don't have respect for this country and the leaders. You know, it doesn't matter if you like him or not. He's still the president.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Amen. So back to the follow-on deployments, you did 2 more after that, right?
Well, that was actually my third deployment was to Afghanistan.
Okay.
And after that deployment, then I went out to Buds.
Yeah.
And that's when I think we were both instructors out there. I was in third phase.
Yeah. I was an NDOC and the brown shirt rollback assholes. So I know regularly, like, you know, that's one of the unique things about that position is, you know, I would interact with and engage with all the phases because there were guys, you know, from every phase in that program. So that was kind of a neat component. And then also working Hell Weeks together. I know we did a few of those, but what was your general takeaway from being an instructor? Did you enjoy the time there, or what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I really did enjoy my time working in. And as a civilian, I worked in first phase, but during my active duty time, I worked in third phase.
Yeah.
So it's still being a BUDS instructor, but in third phase, you teach more tactics, land navigation, some HRST stuff, some rappelling, fast roping, and so you're doing more teaching, and so I think that's really good as far as you know, really developing your teaching skills and just your skills. It's always easier to teach a new team guy how to do something rather than a BUD student. It's like a blank canvas at that point. So you get guys who, you know, grew up and their dad was in the military and they shot a lot of weapons to somebody that this is the first day that they've ever touched a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they shot a few rounds in boot camp, you know, but you're actually trying to teach someone, you know, you're basically like, okay, in 3 weeks, you need to be an expert or you're getting rolled or you're out of here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you really have to hone in your teaching skills. So I really enjoyed that part of it. And as far as, you know, you're really molding a guy and developing him. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of guys that really come into BUDS where, you know, as an instructor, you know, their main focus is just, I'm going to come in there and I'm going to beat as many students as possible, you know, and I'm going to get everybody to quit. And, but that's not the goal in third phase. In first phase, it's, you know, the goal is a little different. I wouldn't say the goal is just to get rid of people. You know, obviously you want to find the right people. Mm-hmm. And that in itself is pretty hard as far as learning that. You know, it's not like guys just come in, especially some of the younger instructors. Guys will come in and, you know, like I said, their whole goal is just to beat everybody down.
Be the hammer.
And you do need the guys like that. And especially when I was a civilian, you know, I was kind of the instructor who helped mentor the instructors at that point. Yeah. And you're a little older, and obviously there's things I would have done different when I was a younger instructor. Just like it's like being a younger team guy. Sure. You know, you get a little cocky, and you know, maybe sometimes you said something or did something that you probably regret these days.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think a lot of people don't realize or didn't know is that there are civilian SEAL instructors. And I know it's been a fairly recent update. I mean, when we were going through training, there weren't, but you know, because of billeting and manpower shortages and stuff, I think that makes a lot of sense, and I'm glad that they instituted that policy. Real quick, once you left as an active duty instructor, you went and did another deployment with.
I went over to Team 5. Okay. After that.
And how was that deployment?
That deployment was It was good. We went to Ramadi, Iraq. Yeah. And it was really a hot zone at the time, 2006, 2007. We relieved Team 3 platoon over there. That was Jocko's platoon, Leif Babin. Obviously, Chris Kyle was in that platoon. And, you know, they made the whole American Sniper movie and all that, you know, about a lot of that deployment. But we came in right after and relieved them, and they did a really good job of establishing outposts and cops and basically getting a foothold in the city. But Ramadi was the Wild West, so as far as maintaining that, it was an action-packed deployment, and it was definitely a deployment. We knew what we were, you know, going into. You know, they had taken some heavy casualties over there, and you know. In training, we knew if we you basically knew if you went over there, you were going to take some casualties.
Yeah.
Like it was just what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And you just have to live with that, and you just know it's an inherent risk of the job, and you train as hard as you can.
Yeah.
And I think that really, even on another aspect, gets you even more laser focused. You know, when you're working with the guys and you know you're going to get over there, especially with the new guys. And it was kind of a unique scenario because I was coming from Buds as an instructor, and you walk into the platoon hut, obviously, bang, you know, here's a lot of guys that you had put through training.
Yeah.
And you really start getting the feeling whether that guy really respected me or liked me or that guy didn't. And it was really cool to see those guys and just start doing training with them, knowing like you had a big part in training these guys and molding them, and now you were getting ready to go to war with them.
Yeah.
And
did it make you second guess any of your decisions as an instructor with some of the guys?
I mean, they definitely, just like we did, you know, once you got out of Buds and you were in the bar or at the team with one of the guys, you know, you'd bring up, you were kind of a dick doing this and that.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, once you get out of Buds and get in a SEAL platoon, you realize why guys did that. Mm-hmm. You know, if you were cutting corners and you got in trouble, or, you know, you had a piece of gear that was dirty or didn't do exactly what you were supposed to do, or weren't paying attention to detail, then, you know, you deserved all of that.
Yeah. Did you find did you ever fuck up where guys that were students that you put through called you on fucking up later on? Because I know, like, there was an instructor of mine in my first platoon that I watched him like a fucking hawk because of that. I was like, this motherfucker, you know, I was hoping he would fuck up so I could, you know, call him on it just as kind of busting his balls. But did you have any of that?
No, I don't think there was any of that. I actually got along pretty well.
So you're saying I'm a petulant child, is that right? Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, there was obviously times where, you know, we would be sitting around after missions, or, you know, a little story time would come out, you know, I remember Instructor Sauers over here yelling at me for this. And it wasn't even my UDT life vest.
Yeah. He didn't give a fuck, and he didn't believe me.
He just beat me anyway.
Yeah. No, I know it. Back to you, Sam. During your time in, were there elements of that unit cohesiveness that were similar to? I mean, obviously, you've been around enough team guys now to know a lot of what the community is like. How were your experiences in the military in terms of that camaraderie and brotherhood, sisterhood type of aspect by comparison?
I mean, with Marines, God, it doesn't matter when you served, what year, with who you served. Your brothers, your sisters. Yeah. You know, it's automatic camaraderie. Wouldn't you agree? Like with Marines,
definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, you've gone to our Marine Corps birthdays before and our balls.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Marines definitely. It's like with the Navy birthday. Yeah. There's not really
nobody gives a fuck.
Big ball.
Ours is huge.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say, I think the Navy celebrates its birthday every day. Is why it's when it actually rolls around, people are like, oh fuck, it's like. Nobody even knows when it is, almost, you know, like nobody gives a shit. But yeah, like the Marine Corps ball and the birthday is fucking crazy.
Yeah, you know, that's our one time, not even our one time. I mean,
there's definitely, you know, the Marines, she's walking around and talking to, you know, a guy, and he's like, oh, devil dog. You know,
that's what I'm saying. Doesn't matter what generation Marine you are.
Yeah.
You know, there's that bond, instant bond.
Yeah.
You know, and people that I served with, you know, when I was, how would I say this? I guess people that I went to boot camp with, you're only there for 3 months, but it doesn't matter. Those are still my best friends, even closer friends than high school friends.
Yeah.
You know, we still keep in touch.
Yeah.
And
What about in terms of your time in your job as an intelligence specialist? Are there relationships that you have there that have carried on? Like,
absolutely.
Same
There's a guy who just messaged me who's in Dallas now that I served with. Yeah, he was in
cool.
Yeah.
Who is he?
Who's this motherfucker? Oh, he did, huh?
Let me guess. He DM'd you on Instagram. Remember me?
Oh, Christ.
Remember me?
Yeah. No, I don't remember you. No, we served together. Sure we did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking great.
But it's there with Marines for sure.
Yeah. Speaking of the sliding into the DMs, with you being a former Marine and whatever, like, is that just that's got to be incessant, right? Like with
the DMs,
military guys, or like especially Marines, like, oh, you're a Marine, like, is it just fucking obnoxious or what?
The DMs are just so funny, you know, aren't they? Like, I'll pay you. Yeah,
funny.
He doesn't find them funny. No,
I don't know if I'd say funny.
Like, I'll pay you for a bottle of your piss, and it's like,
God.
How much?
All right, well, this is steering into another direction.
But no, not just Marines or military guys.
That's the good news. It's not just military guys that are fucked up.
It's a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah. What's the weirdest fucking, is a bottle of piss the weirdest thing?
That's one of them. Oh, God.
Did you know about that, Mike?
Yeah,
I'm just learning about, I knew about the toenail clippings and
what the fuck?
There's some weird shit. And it goes down in the DMs for sure.
We got to hear some of them.
I mean, she definitely has some loyal followers. If you just go and look on the comments there, you'll get the same guys just sending stuff, and then you'll have people that just send DM after DM. Yeah, most people would get the hint. Like if somebody doesn't respond to you after like 5 messages, maybe
they just keep going.
Maybe stop.
You know?
Not me.
Like,
not me.
You know what? I think we would be a really good match together.
You should shit can that dirtbag you're with.
Jackass Seal you're with. Get rid of that guy.
Yeah.
They're pretty funny.
You can move out to Idaho in my cabin with me.
I won't make you cut more than half the wood.
You look like you have a strong back.
God damn. All right, so bottle of piss, toenail clippings.
Yeah.
Anything else that's fucking crazy weird? I mean, what was with the toenail clippings? What do they want? Just your toenail clippings?
They just want my toenail clippings.
God, you should send them like dog
who
dog
thinks
toenails.
of that, you know?
I figured I would just cut mine off.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like when they
$1,500.
ask for, totally.
Yeah. Anything else other than bottle of piss or toenail clipping?
No, just they ask for nudes, so I'll like Google the nastiest buttholes or something I can find and send it to them, you know? Like, there you go. There's your nudes.
It's funny now, though, because she has like all these people pirating accounts.
Yeah.
So, so now all our friends are sending messages. Hey, is this real?
Yeah.
Did you ask me to sign up for a private site? Like, yes, that was me. Really?
Yeah. No, I am not getting asked for toenail clippings, but I've had, because I do the online training, like I've had people be like, hey, this fucking fake Instagram pro, like I don't think it's you, but they're asking for money. Like I've had that happen a few times, and I'm just like, fuck me.
My mom, she just called me and she's like, why do you need an iTunes gift card? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, you just DM'd me on Instagram and asked for an iTunes gift card. What do you need? Are you in trouble? I'm like, if I was, why would I be asking for an iTunes gift card? Like, think about it.
Instagram, no
sure
way.
enough, it was a fake account. I'm like, you got to pay attention. Don't respond to them.
Why are you in Nigeria right now selling bicycles? What?
Like, come on, Pam.
Yeah. Pam, you call your mom Pam?
Sometimes.
You can only send cash, and it needs to be FedEx overnight.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna send you $10,000 over the price, and you just send it back to me. Unfortunately, I know a guy that fell for that. He's actually a good friend of mine and a team guy. I'm going to bring him on the show and roast him for it. But this was back like right when it started. Same thing though. It was like he was selling.
I may have heard that story. Yeah. I remember seeing something online.
Yeah.
Maybe it was a different one. I think it was just a team guy who was supposed to go work over in Saudi Arabia.
No, this was selling a fucking
like
a triathlon bicycle. You know, and it was like he was selling it for like $3,500, and they sent him, like 8,000 or whatever, and he sent them a cashier's check for $5,000 extra. So, some shit like that. I don't even remember. I'll bring him on and fucking roast him for it. But
yeah, I'm sure he'll be real glad to tell that story.
Yeah,
oh, for sure he will. He's gonna tell it. Goddamn it. All right, so. Back to you, Mike. When you got out of the military and transitioned into the civilian gig, can you kind of walk us through that process of starting Forged and just the whole kind of chronological element of what that looked like?
I think I've always had the entrepreneur bug. Always been interested in starting a business. I'd always have all these ideas, like Step Brothers. We're gonna start a business, man.
You were behind Burn Lounge, weren't you?
It's just so funny. I never got into Burn Lounge, but I went to like 5 of those Burn Lounge events. Burn Lounge Ambush. It was the new Amway Ambush.
Yeah.
It's the easy way to say I'm a business owner. And it's so hard to tell those people like. Whenever it's a pyramid scheme, it's the same principle. Yeah. They're just trying to hook you in with something you're interested in. It's about to go public. I remember that all that stuff going around the teams at that time. It was so hilarious. But no, I always had the entrepreneur bug, and we were deployed over in Ramadi, and I mean, honestly, we had a couple good friends of mine get injured really bad, and I was out on all those operations, and it just kind of makes you think. You're sitting there talking with somebody, in an Overwatch position, joking around, and 30 minutes later, that person's bleeding out over here, and it lets you know that life is short, and you just start thinking like, hey, is there anything else I've ever thought about doing? I guess it just makes you think like the risk isn't really as bad as you really think it is. Being a Navy SEAL or just being in the military is pretty dangerous. Even though starting your own business is, it's scary and you don't know, especially if you don't have a background in business, you never went to college. There's a lot of unknown. But is it going to kill you to start a business? So I just started thinking and had all these ideas running in my head, and I just thought, you know what? I was like, I had 13 years in active, and I'd actually turned down a pretty heavy re-enlistment bonus while I was overseas. So, that was more incentive to really make it work. But I was just like, you know what? I got this idea, and I had a few ideas. One of them was, starting an apparel company. And I was like, you know what? I figure I'll get out. I'll give it 2 years. If it doesn't work, I'll come crying back, knocking on the door of the quarterdeck, let me back in. So I got out, and, and me and one of my other SEAL buddies, Ryan Williams, he was a little bit into graphic design, and he was my roommate at the time, and I kind of told him my idea. He bought off on it, and he was still, I only had a few months left on my enlistment. So we had started brainstorming around. We didn't really have a great plan. At the time we thought it was a great plan. Once you got out, everything starts, I had about 20 grand saved up to start this business, which seemed like a lot of money, but that basically got us, about 5 designs and shirts. So once we started, getting a project rolling, it was doing well, but I was still having to, pick up a couple contract jobs and day jobs doing it. And, it was really selling the shirts around the team. We made a couple tribute shirts for some guys to raise some funds. And that's what really sparked, was just helping make the shirts for the guys, the tribute shirts. And once we started making those, guys were like, hey man, you guys should make some more. You should make some more. And we weren't even really, a real legitimate business by then. So, just like with anybody starting a business, especially, back then guys were like, how do you start a business? You get online, you just start looking, and you kind of just do it with things. If you always wait and till the opportunity's perfect, you're just going to wait too long. So you just start action, just start taking action and doing what you're supposed to do. And basically all the lessons you learned in the teams about organizing, being responsible. But we, got a couple T-shirts out there, and we just started selling them, got an online store going, and we kind of just used our team guide network, really. The first year in business, and it wasn't even a full year. I think we did like $180,000, and we only had a website for a few months that year. And we were basically just selling them out of the trunk of our car around the team and at bars, and but just pushing it, just getting the name out there and making it happen. And then, everything just evolved. We were running it out of our house and our apartment, and hired an employee, and guy worked out of our living room. We just threw a desk in the apartment and rented a couple garages, and we'd go out there, and it was about 100 degrees during the day. We'd pack orders, and, the whole time, Ryan was working a contract job, and I was working another contract job. And, we hired another employee after that. Then we got a warehouse and, a few more employees. And then actually, as far as the civilian buds instructor job came, I just got a call one day from a friend, and he said, hey, we're starting up this program where we're going to bring in, former SEALs and guys who have backgrounds in instructing to be civilian instructors. Yeah, of course, I thought like, a civilian instructor, I'll just be doing some admin role. I'm going to charge of records in the first phase or something. And he told me what the salary was, and it was more than the job I was currently working at, so I was automatically interested. And then he was like, no, actually, you're going to be running evolutions and be a first phase instructor. You're going to basically just wear a uniform with no rank on it, and just fit in where you need to fit in and you do the job. And they really wanted to do it because there was a lot of turnover at that time. And there wasn't a lot of continuity. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of guys would go to buds and, even if it was a 3-year billet, a guy might only spend 1.5 years there. And, platoon would call over, hey, we need a sniper, or hey, we need a breacher, or, one of the OICs would get fired, the chiefs would get fired. So even a lot of the head shed had turnover. Yeah. So there just wasn't a lot of continuity. So that's why they wanted to bring in a couple civilians into each phase. So for me, it was a really unique experience because, I got to come back in and be around the military. And, most of the students at the time, like they didn't know any difference between you. They would just call you Instructor Sauers. Yeah. They didn't really know that you weren't even active duty. Yeah. So it was cool to be able to be like you were in the military, but you weren't. So it was really good because as soon as like all the training had to go down or mandatory GMTs or anything else, you're like, all right, guys, I'll see you later. I'm done for the day.
I'll be at Danny's eating a slam burger.
Yeah, you didn't need to deal with all the extracurricular military BS that was there. So that was really cool. The only thing about working in first phase, though, you did have to, keep up a neat and clean appearance to where if you were working in advanced training or somewhere else out on an island, you could get away with, not having to wear a uniform every day.
I can only imagine that having that business at the time and being a civilian contractor instructor, like that's only going to help. I'm assuming a lot of students are like, oh, it's a team guy owned business or cool shirts, like. That had to help grow the brand, I would imagine, right? I mean, unintentionally, of course, but...
Yeah, and I mean, it was brought up as far as just because at that point it was kind of where you got into the whole, team guys starting to get into business and branding. And so I definitely, had to go explain my situation when I was getting hired. I divulged, I was one of the owners of Forged, and I basically told them what my brand was. And the commanding officer, the command master chief, they were cool with that. I had to sign some paperwork saying, I'm not going to push my brand here. Yeah. And I didn't. There was definitely students who knew who I was. And, obviously if somebody came up and tried to talk to me about it, I wouldn't, be telling some student, oh yeah, that's great. You should get out and start your bit. I mean, there was a few incidents where, instructors would be doing room inspections, be like, oh, this guy's got a Ford shirt in here. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Guy thinks he's a team guy, right? And I would just kind of walk out of that room and be like, I don't need to be involved in any of this. But I mean, it definitely, it was cool in the fact that, I had a good day job where I didn't have to eat ramen noodles all the time, so we were able to invest the money back into the company, which helped a lot. And we had a good staff and we had a good organization, so we could trust them with the day-to-day operations. Yeah.
At that time, did you know of Forged before you met him?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, even in Illinois, people were wearing Forged. And I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's a Navy SEAL brand. I'm like, oh, that's gay.
Oh, that's fucking great. So from that point on, like it just continued to grow and grow, and then Brian went and did his own thing. Like, what if you can just walk us through like the process of from there to where you're at now?
We just, like you said, we grew organically a lot through social media. Back then, a lot of it was through Facebook, a lot of grassroots. We got attached with CrossFit. Obviously, Dave Castro had a big part in the CrossFit Games, and he invited us up to Aromas. And I think it was technically the second year of the CrossFit Games. He was like, hey, come up to, Aromas, to my dad's trucking garage. We're going to have this, CrossFit Games up here. And we're like, well, it's like a 7-hour drive, man. I don't know. So we rented a U-Haul, and me and Ryan drove up there. And I mean, it was a great community. And we ended up selling damn near every single thing we went up there with. And we were like, oh my God, I can't believe how much money we made. And it wasn't just about selling the product and making money. It was actually like meeting good people. It was just a good community. And CrossFit was a pretty small community at that time. And they kind of had that elite, disciplined mentality that you have in the SEAL teams. Yeah. And so CrossFit was real new at the time, and which was kind of funny for us because remember people back in like 2003 coming to the team like, hey, we'll certify you guys in CrossFit. Yeah. And we were like, what do you mean? We're going to like run around with kettlebells and sandbags? Like we already do that on deployment when we don't have a gym. Like, nobody's going to pay to do that. And Eddie Lugo opened one of the first CrossFit gyms in San Diego. And we're like, you're going to go broke. We're like, nobody's going to pay to do CrossFit. You don't have any equipment, and all of a sudden it just started taking off. And so being attached with the CrossFit community and then also with the the SEAL teams really were two communities that had a strong following, a very loyal following, and that helped us grow exponentially very rapidly through the ranks. And back then there was really just a handful of patriotic military inspired brands. I mean now there's a new one popping up every day. I probably get 5 emails or texts, not really texts, but emails a day or DMs from people. Hey, I want to start a brand just like Forged. What should I do?
Go fuck yourself. That's what you should do.
What's one thing you can tell me? Well, work really hard and stuff. But there wasn't really a lot of patriotic military inspired brands at the time. And it was kind of an untapped market. So, but once we got that following, it just started growing like wildfire. But like now, it's just the hardest part. It's just staying relevant because there are so many other brands.
True.
But I think a lot of people are still loyal to the pioneers in the industry.
Sure.
It's kind of like any industry. You look like surfing or snowboarding, skiing. People are always more partial to the pioneers of the brand.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's great. I mean, I love seeing the progress that the company's made over the years. And I mean, I remember buying several of the first designs that you guys ever came out with and wore them literally until they were worn out. I was going to ask you, in terms of some of those original designs, like, have you ever thought about bringing some of those back or refreshing it? Because I know like some of those designs I think are still fucking cool.
We've actually, especially in the last few years, we've had a lot of people who have really requested that we bring those designs back. I think we may have to do a revision for some of them. I mean, if you remember back then, like Affliction was kind of the big theme and Ed Hardy and stuff. So a lot of our first designs were these big, giant, gaudy, all over prints, which now, unfortunately, that's kind of has the reputation of the Jersey Guido,
the douche named Kyle, wears Axe body spray and CrossFits, right?
Exactly. Hey, do you make that in sleeveless? So we're working right now in redesigning some of those old designs and bring them back just with a more fresh feel to them. And as your market gets older, obviously, you never want to be that brand that, like you said, isn't that douche category. You kind of want to make the exit strategy before that happens. But I think what we did, I think our transition, we did it well. But like the simple answer to that question, yes, we are working right now on bringing some of those designs back.
Or at least elements of them. That's good shit. So for you, Sam, as you got out, obviously, like there's a lot of things that you've done since you got out. Can you walk us through kind of that same process of you decide to get out of the military and now what?
So I decided to get out, go to school to be a teacher, actually.
Really?
So I went back to Illinois, wanted to be a teacher. As I'm going through the program, I was so disappointed because the way that they're teaching children today is just not the way I learned. So they would say, you can't use a red pen to grade children because it'll give them bad thoughts. And if a child says the answer to 2 + 2 is 5, you don't say that's wrong. You say, how did you get that answer? And I'm like, are you kidding me?
This is in Illinois, this was the case?
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not doing this. Forget it. And then when you're doing the student teaching, especially in the suburbs of Chicago, you get a lot of kids who just don't want to be there. They were so unruly and they were little assholes, honestly. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is not me, especially as a Marine. Like, I will snap.
About to crack somebody's fucking head.
This is not me. I can't use a red pen. I can't tell the kid he's wrong. Like, forget it.
I'm going to use a red pen and I'm going to draw a dick on his forehead.
Scratch and sniff that sticker. It smells like a turd.
Sam, we're going to need you to come into HR.
Yeah. So that was not the path. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to start going back to school for Homeland Security, getting into that, doing something in security or in intelligence, So I actually moved to California because I was getting tired of Illinois.
Now, wait a minute. I'm going to have to call you on that. If the politics and kid gloves are bad in Illinois, so I'm going to kick it up a notch and move to California?
It's the weather. It's the weather. I can't take it in Illinois, It's just brutal. So I'm like, I need something different.
Right? Yeah.
So I was on the East Coast, raised in the Midwest. I'm like, I'm going West, So I actually got into advertising randomly. I had a friend who she got me in with Deutsch. It's one of the biggest advertising agencies in the nation. Started learning how to do that. That's when I really got into marketing and branding myself, and then that's when I guess my social media started really taking off, when I started branding myself.
Yeah.
So
where did the private investigation component fit in?
So I started working on my license last January. Kind of stopped that now when I took on Forged, because that takes a lot of time doing the social media. Yeah. I'd really like to go back to doing that. It was a lot of fun, but it was in criminal defense, and that was hard because we would have to defend sex offenders, for example, And so with some cases, you just knew they were innocent, like guys that were falsely accused of rape. You just know when you're hearing about the incident and looking into it. But then there's other things with those sex offenders, when you're reading about him touching his 15-year-old son, you're like, Jesus Christ, you got to defend this guy. Yeah. So that was really hard.
And you didn't have the ability to opt out on that? Like you're forced to do it? You're forced to
defend? With the firm that I worked for. Yeah. It was just
that or
criminal
quit,
defense.
Basically.
Yeah.
God damn.
So I did, I got registered as a process server. So I would serve, I can't believe I can't even say the name. Thank you, subpoenas.
Yeah.
And so I would take Mike along with me to help with that because you'd have to go to some really shady neighborhoods to serve those subpoenas. And
so with that gig, do you guys have the ability to carry for that, or?
You can. I think it's pretty hard in California.
It's almost fucking impossible to get a concealed.
So you can.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You can carry. Yeah, you're rocking a fucking miniature fire extinguisher bear spray or what?
Pretty much. I mean, when you're serving like hunter. That, it's scary.
Yeah.
So
in criminal defense, usually the subpoenas are in
crackheads.
Not the best neighborhoods.
It's not La Jolla, right?
Yeah.
Like when it's like a crackhead on crackhead crime.
Yeah.
That was one of our first cases. One crackhead stabbed another crackhead. Those end up being
the worst.
Jesus.
It's everybody involved is just a crackhead.
Yeah. So I'm like, Jesus.
Did you guys have any like close calls or significant conflicts where you're getting into it with people, or?
When I was serving subpoenas? Yeah, absolutely. So there was one guy, he had a dog in his front yard. So if you don't want to be served, just have a dog. Like, because then I'm not going in your yard to serve you.
There's fucking 30 of them here. So
not just any dog.
Yeah, Jesus.
A pit bull out there that's salivating out the mouth. It looks like it hasn't been fed in about 2 days.
Yeah. So now I have to wait for this guy to come out. So now I'm on a stakeout. I'm waiting, from 4 a.m. to whenever this guy decides to come out and just check his mail or something. Mm-hmm. So this guy finally comes out. I jump out of my car real quick and I'm like, hey, so-and-so. I say his name, He looks back. Like, do I know you? I'm like, oh, I live down the street. I think I got some of your mail. He's like, okay. And I handed the subpoena. I'm like, hey, here's a subpoena for this. That's not me. That's not me. I'm like, yes, it is, sir. You just said your name. I'm not taking that. You can't do that. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to leave it right here on your car. Nope, you can't do that. He grabs it. He throws it. I'm like, Jesus Christ. I'm like, okay, sir. Just took a picture of him. Have a good day. You can't do this. You can't do this. He's ripping it up.
So that makes me curious. How does that work in terms of from a legal aspect, like in serving a subpoena from a legal representation standpoint? Like you're allowed to do that?
Yeah, I can set it right in front of them if I want to. They don't have to accept it.
But do you have to verify that it's them?
Yes.
Yeah, and you can basically do that however you want.
However.
No shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah, your ex-wife called and it's deliver a stripper day and are you so-and-so? Fuck yeah, I am. Oh, good. Here you go.
Yep.
That's it. It works a lot better when you send a hot chick over
I know.
there.
I don't doubt
Especially most of these guys that were getting served subpoenas. They look like they were living in their mother's basement until they were 47 years old. Yeah. There's a rusty RV
lucky
outside.
day.
So when they see some hot chick roll up, hey, Stan, remember me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's me, Stan Kramer, right here.
Yep.
And it's funny to watch him turn, like, as soon as she hands him the papers, like, oh, no, that's not me.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say that. No.
Yep.
Oh, did you say
It's
Dan
hysterical.
Kramer?
Yeah.
No, that's not me.
It's hysterical, and they deny it. Nope, not me.
Yeah.
You got a giant picture of him right beside it. No, I think this is you.
No,
But yeah,
it's
they
my
can
friend.
rip it up if they want. Doesn't matter,
Yeah.
you know.
But at that point, legally, they're considered served, and it's okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fucking wild. Did you ever, from a physical altercation standpoint?
No, thank God.
Yeah.
You know, thank God.
No guns drawn on you or anything like that. Any dog situations other than that one? Like, did you ever have some gnarly dog come fucking?
I mean, yeah, there were a few places, you know, especially in those ghettos that we went to when we were serving the crackheads, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like
Every
all of them-
address we
every
went to
person had
there.
a freaking pit bull.
Yeah.
So
So
they
that's-
didn't get served.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
on that day.
How does that work in terms of like, who hires you to do something like that?
It's a private investigation firm.
So-
that what happens is you work under that private investigator's license
Yeah.
for your hours. You have to get so many hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, like with a master's degree, that counts for 3,000 hours already. You
Yeah.
have to get, I think, 5,000, 6,000.
Yeah.
So,
But you guys are hired usually by the attorney.
oh yeah, if that's what you're asking,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So yeah, an attorney will take us on for a case to investigate the case for them.
Okay. And then
But it's not only just attorneys. It could be like wives. We had fidelity cases where
Yeah.
wives would say, I think my husband's cheating. Can you see if he's going out to the bars and
Yeah.
things like that?
What does that process look like in terms of how you conduct that? You're just staking out and fucking following guys, and
Yep.
ever get rolled up doing that? No. It's always in a busy area, though, I imagine, right?
When you're staking out?
Yeah.
I mean, it depends. Like,
I mean, like here, like where the fuck you getting? Like, there's nowhere to park within
oh yeah,
800
I see
yards
what-
of
yeah.
you know. But like in terms of trying to blend in and all that, like what can you give us a couple of examples of how you did it? And I'm not trying to give the guys a fucking heads
I know,
up here.
now
I'm
you're
just-
like going to
I'm-
give away all my tips.
You don't have to
Come
get too
on.
in depth. Just I'm just curious, like what like you see a lot of shit in the movies, but I've never talked to a private investigator before. I'm curious, like how that works.
Well, for example, like my boss, she would just go to the bars and start talking to them if she had to, you know, get information for them.
Yeah.
So they'd buy drinks, she'd talk, you know.
Yeah.
She was good.
Sneaky
She was
fucking
real,
women.
she was real good. She
Yeah.
had all the.
Yeah, most guys that are, you know, already that shady,
Yeah.
they weren't really that good about hiding anything.
Or
You
the
know,
workers' comp guys, she would go stake out at their gyms and watch them as they're working out and
Yeah.
talk to them and flirt with them.
Ooh,
you
how
know,
much
and
you
they're like,
bench?
look at how
Yeah.
much I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, they've got these workers' comps claims, and it's like, dude, you're busted.
Watch me back squat 450 here. You know, the guy screaming and yelling in the gym. Hey, get this on YouTube so I can show everybody.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fucking trip. So were there a lot of workman's comp claims that you guys would?
Not so much that I dealt with while I worked for. I did more like the criminal defense.
Yeah.
You know, the sex offenders, and
Yeah. Yeah, that's some interesting shit.
it
It's something like,
it was neat.
you know, to having never met you, just, you know, to see your profile on social media and knowing some of these things, it's like, it's a surprise, you know, it's
You
pretty
don't
wild.
advertise that part
It's
too
pretty,
much.
it's pretty wild,
you know?
yeah. No, it's cool shit. All right, so from there, how did it, you started branding yourself and you've been
Mm-hmm.
doing some of the PI work. How has that transitioned into a lot of the different campaigns? Because I know you're like an affiliate or a brand ambassador.
Yeah,
for
so
a
I'm
lot of-
a brand ambassador for a few companies. I mean, Strike Force, Warrior Flask, Curbs and Combat Boots, Ammo Inc. So we got an ammo sponsor.
Yeah,
Awesome.
nice.
Full Conceal, you know, the foldable Glocks.
Yeah.
And so a lot of sponsorships, which is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we get to go a lot of places and travel, and some of the companies are just amazing to work with. Like Warrior Flask, they give me flasks every month to just donate to law enforcement officers and military. So for us, we love going to police departments and handing this stuff out and saying thank you. You know, we have the utmost respect for you guys. We do that a lot.
To me, the one of the neat things about your guys' relationship, both personally and professionally, is that kind of synergy and parallel, like between Forge, the brand, and the different, you know, brands that you're an ambassador for, and they all kind of work together in a good way. I mean, that's got to be mutually beneficial, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to be able to give back. Obviously, you know, being in the military and where we come from, and you know, having a relationship with police officers and first responders, and it just feels good to give back to people that you know put so much out there for the people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I follow you guys fairly close, and I love to see, like, it seems like every few days you guys are with some other department, and
we really try to
and giving them stuff, and I think it's fantastic. Where do you guys see yourself business wise as far as that goes, moving into the future, if you will?
A lot more giving back, right? We have so many ideas for Forged, for the other companies I work with. I mean.
Yeah, as far as, we've always had campaigns at Forged. We run yearly campaigns, like we do the Murph Challenge, and, just...
For those people that are listening that aren't familiar with that, can you describe / explain each campaign, actually?
The Murph Challenge is a workout campaign that we do. We work directly with the Michael P. Murphy Memorial Scholarship Foundation, and that's run by Michael's family, Michael Murphy, who was awarded the Medal of Honor after he was killed in Afghanistan. The movie Lone Survivor was basically, portrayed about the actions over there. And we started working with the family doing this campaign, and they had kind of started it on their own, and it was successful, but it grew very rapidly.
Yeah.
So they approached us and were like, hey, and we don't really know how to ship all this stuff out, and we have all this people that want to be involved in it, but we're not sure exactly how to do it. So they asked us to be involved. We took a look at the campaign. We said, yeah, I think that's right up our alley. So we worked directly with the family, just growing it, over the last 8 years, just growing the campaign. And it's really evolved into, a worldwide campaign. And gyms can get involved in it. You can become an official host. And it usually kicks off on April 1st, and it culminates on Memorial Day. And usually you don't have to be a CrossFit gym. You could be a police department. You could, if you wanted to have one here, just sponsor it by your company. You could sign up as an official host and do that. Some like high school sports teams will do it. We have professional sports teams that do it.
I'm going to have the dogs do it. They're going to smoke everybody's ass.
That would be pretty good.
Yeah.
But you just go on to themurphchallenge.com, and you can register on themurphchallenge.com. We have a leaderboard on there. So after you do the workout, you can go ahead and put your information in there, and you can see where you rank amongst everyone else in America.
Can you describe what the actual workout is?
So the Murph workout, if you're not familiar with a CrossFit workout, it's a 1 mile run, and it's followed by 100 pull-ups.
And that's in body armor, right?
Yes. To do it prescribed, yes, you're supposed to wear a 20-pound weight vest.
Yeah.
And for people now that are listening and are like, I'm not even going to attempt running 1 mile with
or 100
a 20-pound weight vest on.
Forget it.
You don't have to do it with a weight vest on. And, it's really people just supporting the cause, because there are scholarships given away every year for the foundation. And we get a lot of questions from people that are like, well, I can't do the Murph workout. We actually do a lot of scaled workouts that we'll put out on our website, and to show you, hey, if you can't do this workout, this is something you can do instead. Yeah. If you belong to a CrossFit gym, one of your instructors can easily give you tips on scalable workouts that you can do.
How to not be such a pussy.
I'm
just being an asshole because that's my job. No, I get it. I'm not trying to make light of it. I love the fact that there's that much involvement. I cannot help myself sometimes, and that was one of them. Sorry, go ahead.
But like I said, it's a 1 mile run, and then you could do 100 pull-ups, and then 200 push-ups, and then 300 air squats, and then another 1 mile run.
Yeah, it's a ball buster.
Yeah, it's a terrible workout. Yeah. Like, you feel so good after it's over. You feel like you've accomplished so much. Yeah. But the funny part about it is everybody thinks like the last mile run is the easiest. Yeah. But once you've done all of those air squats and you're trying to run, like, you feel like you're wearing concrete shoes trying to get on there, especially if you have a vest on. And the first time you do this workout, most people will get in there and be like, it doesn't really sound that bad. Like, it's hard, but not that hard. Yeah. And you start doing it, and then you're trying to do that last run, and you're like, oh my God, this is so
fucking miserable. Yeah.
But when you do it in a group, I would say for people that it might be the first time they are doing it, and you can register and just do it on your own. If you want to do it at a park or whatever, that's fine. If you can do it in a group, being with that group mentality, I think that helps a lot. Especially if you are doing it at a CrossFit gym or functional fitness facility. There's instructors there, and they can tell you different tips and tricks about how to basically pace yourself for the workout.
Yeah, that's a huge component to it for sure. How many years has it been going on now?
So as far as the Murph Challenge, we've been doing the Murph Challenge for 5 years. When we first were approached with it, it was called Memorial Day Murph.
Yeah.
But as far as there were some trademark issues going on there, and some gyms had already been doing some other type workouts. So working with the family, we decided to change it and called the Murph Challenge. And obviously, when it is called Memorial Day Murph, it's kind of targeted right for that day where, the Murph Challenge is it begins April 1st. Yeah. So most people aren't ready just, boom, all right, Memorial Day, I'm just going to knock out the Murph. It takes some work up to do it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So getting that mindset out there that this is a challenge, and I know what I'm getting myself into now. Yeah. It really, I think, helped grow the actual event. Yeah. And it really brings a lot more people on now where, you can challenge somebody to do it. Yeah. And a person takes a look at it, like I said, and there's a programming that's involved with it that you can get involved with. And I mean, I'm not saying, boom, go join a CrossFit gym just because you're going to do it. Yeah. But I think it does help build that sense of community if you can challenge somebody, whether you're in a gym or not, but you find somebody else in your community that wants to do it with you. You get a friend, you maybe get 2 more people to do it, 3 more people to do it. It's just like working out. It holds you accountable when you get a group of people to do it. Yeah. So definitely, if you're going to attempt to do the workout, attempt to do the Murph, I would suggest that you at least get a buddy to help you out, or go down to your local CrossFit gym or functional fitness gym and go ahead and ask them about the workout and sign up for a membership.
Maybe not 24-hour fitness.
Yeah. They might,
what's wrong with Planet Fitness?
The Globo Gym. Anytime
Globo Gym.
Do you guys do? So I'm assuming, like, between the marketing stuff that you're doing and owning the company, like that time of year, I'm sure is stupid busy. Do you guys pick a gym and do the workout on a certain day, or like how do you guys get involved, if at all?
I mean, we have in the past at certain times. In the last couple of years, it just becomes it's kind of a crunch time for us because people are ordering the shirts, and obviously you don't know exactly how many people are going to sign up. Everybody wants their shirts to wear for the event. Yeah. So it becomes very intensive logistically, and then getting content for it. Yeah. So like I remember the last time we actually did do an event, we actually had a pretty big one in downtown San Diego. Marcus Luttrell came out for it, and we had the news out there. We had quite a few people out there. We actually had a big fundraiser after it, and of course we had the last heat, which was all team guys and Marines. Yeah. So everyone stayed to watch. The news is there. So at that point, people are counting reps and everything. So you're on the news, so you're making sure you're doing everything right. Your hands are bleeding, and I remember it was just get done with the workout. Laying there on the floor, feeling like you're gonna have to puke. And then all of a sudden, like, oh, hey, we need you over at the bar over there. Actually, I think you came out for one of the workouts, right?
Yeah.
Actually, so we had to run over to the bar. I still got chalk all over me. My hands are bleeding. And all of a sudden, somebody's like, hey, we got to hang a banner off the bar. And I'm still sweaty. And it's kind of like biting off a little more than you can chew. It's on paper, it seemed like it was going to work out real well.
It's like every CrossFit workout. When you read it, you're like, fuck, that's not that bad. And then 2/3 of the way through it, you're like, holy fucking Christ, what did I
get myself into?
So last year we kind of just did it on our own,
Yeah, so it depends. Some years when there is an event, we will go to the gym and do it with him. But other years, if we get behind on production, I mean, obviously that takes priority, all hands on deck.
Yeah.
And we have a good team in place at Forged, and my business partner does a really good job of running logistics and just the operational side of the house. But once you get something that big, it's like when they're successful, it's kind of like that old that commercials where people start a business and you're looking at it and you're like, wow, can't wait till we get one sale. And then it starts spinning and you're like, oh no, how are we going to get all these orders out? Yeah. And like I said, obviously it's about staying on top of it. The worst thing you can do is produce too much inventory because now at the end of the year, you're trying to sell that inventory that has a date on it. So that's a loss. So you don't want to print up too much inventory, but you also want to print up enough inventory that you can get it out in time. So it's a real crucial numbers game that you got to play.
Yeah. I suppose right now is pretty tight leading up to April 1st for you guys right now, right?
It is.
Shirt design, start getting content, with the shirt to put out. Yeah. That's the biggest thing.
So with you having an integral part in doing marketing, a lot of social media stuff, and being in a relationship, I'm curious, just out of my own curiosity, like, does that affect you guys personally? Are there times? Do we
argue?
Well, I mean, I know you. I know you guys fuck with each other, that you get into it sometimes, but like I can imagine dating somebody, and you work together, especially in a capacity where you're the business owner, like, is there ever pissing contests, like, or you're afraid to say you fucked this up, or I would have rather you done it this way?
He's never afraid to say if I fuck something up, Mike.
In fact, I look for it. I'm curious to get your take on it, since he's been running his mouth here for about 10 minutes. I'm just fucking with you. Not really. What is it like working for your boyfriend?
Yeah,
essentially,
everyone thinks it's going to be.
I think it would suck.
So great to work with your
terrible.
significant other. I thought so too. Because before I just did my own thing, with the private investigation stuff, advertising. And then I just came on in January because they're like, you do a really good job with social media, and I could help with that and get content. And it's hard sometimes, sometimes we have different ideas of what needs to be posted or what we should be putting out. Or I'm like, maybe we should do a sale for this day. And he's like, well, here's why you can't. Because, he's been in business a lot longer than I have. There's other things I don't know.
Yeah.
But
and he makes sure to let you know you don't know them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No. She does a great job creating the content.
But with that, there's a lot of things he doesn't know about social media. I'm like, we should be doing giveaways to get people, more involved.
What?
More
Free shit? Fuck you.
Engagement. Like these stickers.
Pay for it?
We should be giving out stickers to people and this and that,
I paid for that. Fucker, you're going to pay for it.
No one's going to buy the cow if you give away the milk for free.
So just things like that, we're learning from each other.
But definitely brainstorming ideas. And I think one of the biggest fallacies with social media is people think it's, because once you post something, it doesn't seem, to the person observing it that, they probably just thought of that, it took 5 minutes to put up there. But especially there's so many social medias now, and it's like,
you're doing the LinkedIn, the Twitter, the Facebook, Instagram. And who knew that LinkedIn was a social media? I did not know that, really. And now I'm learning that, oh my God, people are using this as a social media tool to promote things.
And it's not just like, it's just for Forge, for the separate campaigns we have, like for the Murph Challenge.
Yeah,
they have
the
their
Murph
own
Challenge account too, so that's totally separate. And
and just other things that we have going on and manage it. And then the next thing you know, you're like, I'm managing 8 social media accounts, so I have to post on 8 social media
getting
accounts.
The content to have something to post every day is so hard, because you don't want to just post T-shirts every day.
Yeah, it is tricky, and I know even as a the gentleman sitting here running the show does all of my social media stuff. So for those of you listening, when you send me a message or see a comment, I'm gonna level with you here. It's usually not me. Sometimes it is. You just never know. It's flip of a fucking coin. But my point is that similarly, like, there's a lot of things that I admittedly don't know, but I do know how much goes into it, and also being more on the back end or as more of an afterthought or not a main contributor in terms of the ideas and content and what have you. I know enough about it to be A, dangerous, but B, it changes kind of my outlook as a user of social media or as an observer, I guess. And I know, the more profiles there are, the more companies that are using it. That's one of those things that, that shit evolves almost day to day. It
truly does.
And it's hard. The more people you follow, like as you're streaming through your timeline or whatever, it's like, it makes sense as to why certain things work and don't work and whatever. I know what catches my attention. I know what irritates me.
Right.
Like fucking advertisements in the middle of a video. Like I will stop watching the video right fucking now. Like I don't give a fuck what it is or how into it I am. Like if it's a YouTube video and it's like, oh, your shit will like fuck you. Like I take it personal. I don't know why, but
or newsletters. Like a lot of companies send out newsletters 3-4 times a week. There's a sale Monday, sale Tuesday.
Or like every
Ford
fucking
does a
day.
good job about not doing that.
Yeah, like just enough to let you know when shit's worth knowing about, but otherwise leave me the fuck alone. Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah, and that's a big mistake a lot of companies make too. It's conditioning your buyers as well. It's like you sign up for a certain email blast or you see on social media and a company is like 40% off, 50% off, 40% off, 50%. Like every other day you're having a sale.
So why am I going to buy it when it's full price?
It's like when you look at a company like Apple. If Apple has like a 5% off sale, people are going nuts. They're going crazy.
Right.
Because they never do.
Because they never do. So just basically feeling out your audience like that, and obviously that's when you look at your product and you're like, well, how much is your product actually worth? How much are people actually paying for your product?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I get it 100%. So back to, in terms of you guys working collectively, what other projects in terms of the campaigns do you guys, obviously we talked about the Murph one. What are the other ones that you guys do?
Right now, we're doing a campaign for Eddie Gallagher. It's the Free Eddie campaign. He's a Navy SEAL chief. If you haven't heard, he is actually right now in pretrial confinement for killing allegedly accused of killing an ISIS fighter, which is absurd to even think about. But if you go to justiceforeddie.com, you can look under there and they have all of the information. You can get caught up on it and support the cause. Eddie was a good friend of mine. He was a teammate, and he's probably one of the most loyal and humble SEALs that you'll ever meet in your entire life. Yeah. And he's a good man. And part of Forge, when we started Forge, was just being able to help and give back, especially to our brothers and guys that we were close to. And I figure if I can do something to help out my brother and give him the best chance of, prevailing and getting justice, then I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a stand and do that.
Yeah, and his family, his wife's doing an outstanding job. Yeah. Andrea Gallagher, oh my God, I feel like she dedicates 100% of her day, every day to Eddie, you know, and getting the word out there and getting help. And it's just also amazing. And his brother, Sean Gallagher, both of them are incredible. And they're on Fox News, you know. Yeah, but it's sad, the position he's in. I mean, to be in solitary confinement, since September.
Yeah, it's a fucking tragedy.
And initially, his trial date was supposed to be in February. Now it's pushed. I mean, this happens all the time where trial dates get pushed. And when you don't have bail, you're sitting there. You're sitting there until your trial date. So it'll be 9 months before. Yeah.
That's one thing I don't understand. I mean, I know the military justice system is a little different. I don't understand why he is in confinement right now during it. Like, I don't get that. But I mean, like, what is he, a fucking flight risk?
I guess there is no bail, right?
Yeah, with the UCMJ, from what I understand and from what I've been told, it's up to the command, basically, to make that judgment. And I mean, I'm sure there's other people who weigh in on that. And just, I guess you could say flight risk, or they think he's a danger. Yeah. But
yeah, it's fucking absurd. Where can people go to support that again?
It's justiceforeddie.com.
Okay, good shit. So if you're listening, after you get done choking yourself, you go ahead and go there. Do you have other campaigns? Are you guys still doing the Legend stuff?
We are. Yeah, we still are doing the Legend campaign. It's an ongoing campaign that we're doing. A lot of the campaigns that we do are just sporadic, where a tragedy happens. we had one for a fallen officer in San Diego, J.D. de Guzman, and who was killed in a line of duty in a random traffic stop, and also his partner was also shot, and luckily he had a full recovery. Yeah. But JD was lost, and we ended up raising over $72,000 for his family.
Oh, awesome!
But that's the thing with Forged is we have such a good team put together that we're able to react quickly to certain situations. Mm-hmm. And we've had campaigns in the past where we've donated money for natural disasters and fallen service members and first responders, and obviously like I said, we have campaigns like the Murph Challenge that are planned annual campaigns, but a lot of our other campaigns are, just like our Free Eddie campaign, are just reacting to, tragedies and things that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, it's been several years now, but, the Warrior Dog Foundation had you guys have a couple of different designs, and you guys were making shirts for our group for a while, and you guys were fantastic about it. I mean, my hat's off to you guys as a company, and you as the owner to do the job that you do, giving back, because a lot of companies, I think, like to give that impression, and it's almost like the Sean Penn down in fucking Guatemala or whatever, like making sure there's a picture of him like helping some old lady out of a puddle or whatever, and I think you guys do a fantastic job of actually. It's out of balance the other way, and that you guys do a better job at actually doing it than you do representing the fact that you do it. So, my thanks to you guys for not just the help you did with Warrior Dog, but for all the campaigns. I think it's fucking awesome.
Well, I appreciate that, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing I am going to bust your balls about, though, is that I don't know if you recall. I don't know if you were busy at the time or whatever, but there was the opening bell rather on the New York Stock Exchange. Is actually, so I'm in a suit, and I've got the Forged hat on and wore it on there, and I was a little butthurt at the lack of response for me wearing the hat on the opening bell, but anyway, I was happy to rep the brand either way, and I did manage to throw in the fucking circle game, which a lot of people didn't catch. I don't know of any other asshole that's opened the bell and thrown up the fucking circle game sign while he was doing it. But, and I was wearing your guys' hat, so you're welcome to embarrass you on that front. But,
well, I will take the hit on that, and I will thank you for wearing that on the 60 Minutes episode. Yeah. That was great.
Yeah. No, I know. I love the fucking, how many people where the fuck did you get that hat and whatever. But
I mean, you definitely are always repping a hat, and I guess you got one by me.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I can't let that go unnoticed.
Hence the reason
I wasn't around.
Hence
That's
the reason
why that
I hired Sam.
I wasn't.
I mean, it's kind of like we were having a little chat earlier. We were talking about social media, and I could say when Sam and I first met, she looked at my Instagram account. I mean, obviously, being team guys, it's like, when you're in the team, social media is like this bad thing.
Oh, yeah.
You're not, social media, stay away from this.
Yeah,
this is bad. This is only going to get you in trouble. ISIS is running around at social media, stealing all your information.
Well, it's legitimate. I mean, you do have to be careful with it.
Sure.
But
also, when you have a brand as big as Forged, you want to associate, like you said, did you know about Forged before meeting Mike? I did, but I didn't know the faces behind it, and I wish I would have. You have such an incredible story, and why you started Forged, I think a lot of people should know that.
I thought you were going to say you would have steered clear of it. Wish I'd have known what I was getting myself into.
No kidding. But yeah, I wish more people did know that, and that's why I kind of took over his social media first, and I said, people need to know your story and what you've done, and I mean, his military record, it's incredible. Yeah. Mine's nothing compared to what you've done. His head's getting bigger and bigger but it's true,
Well, with a beard like that, it's hard not to have a big one. Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is, we're all on the same team, though. I get approached, I'm assuming similarly to you, a lot of times we're like, I was just a whatever. To me, it's it's that team mentality of everybody plays a role, and the guys at the even sharper tip of the spear than you or I ever were wouldn't be able to do what they do without the thousands and hundreds of thousands of people doing all of the other things, and so while it's a humble approach, I think again, we're all on the same team, and it's a group effort, but I love what everything that you're doing. Any other components to the Forge campaigns that are coming up? Is there anything else that you have going on that you want to mention?
We have a lot of new apparel in production right now that we're working on getting some new stuff out, some new jackets, some more like tactical kind of jackets, a little more military-driven stuff. Mm-hmm. And like you said, we're going to be redoing some of our old designs, bringing those back.
Yeah.
But just sticking with what works, basically. Yeah. It's kind of, when you grow a brand, you have to stay relevant for one. Yeah. And, it's kind of funny with fashion. If you think about it, I wouldn't quite say that, I'm in a fashion brand, it's kind of like you're just trying to put out cool apparel that people will
Ralph
wear.
Lauren.
I'm not, looking to make something crazy, but you do have to stay relevant. You have to give your audience what they want. Yeah. So Forge is 12 years in business right now.
No shit. That's crazy. Fucking 12 years, damn.
And so it's, we've got some years under our belt. There's a lot of lessons learned, definitely. Yeah. Did some things right, made a lot of mistakes, but luckily none of those mistakes were too costly. Yeah. But it's definitely just, finding out what's new on the horizon and searching for, new apparel and what's the next thing that's out there that's hot and cool. And
Is there anything other than jackets? I mean, like as far as right now, on top of T-shirts, hats, stickers, I know at a point you guys were doing like the board shorts style workout shorts. What other products are on the horizon other than jackets, if anything?
Well, definitely for all you listeners out there, the WOD shorts will be back in stock very, very soon.
Yeah, those are a hit. Huh?
Those are awesome.
Yeah, we had a little bump in our supply chain with them, so we've got that fixed. Board shorts and WOD shorts, we sell a ton of those. They will be coming back in stock here very soon. So if you want to be the first person to actually know when they are back in stock, you can go to forge.com and sign up for our newsletter, and you will be the very first person to know. Because they will sell out fast. They sell out fast every single time.
Anything other than the board shorts and jackets? Any new pieces of gear that you haven't?
We're always looking at new things, and we've done watches in the past, sunglasses, mainly collaborating with some other companies. So we're always looking at different companies, doing some collaborations with them, especially a lot of the veteran-owned companies out there. We do have some right now that we're working with, but nothing that's in stone yet. Nothing that I'd want to release. Basically, and it wouldn't be a surprise.
I know it. Well, good shit. Miss Sam, on your end, I know you got a lot of the brand ambassador stuff and affiliate type relationships. What do you have going on and coming up in the future that you want to let people know about?
Definitely with Warrior Flasks. So for everyone that's purchased, we always donate one to military or first responder.
That's a cool fucking program.
It is so neat, and that's why I love working with them. I've been working with them since last year.
Yeah.
And they're so good about making sure they give me flasks to make sure I get out to military and first responders so I can do it personally, face to face, and thank them for their service.
Yeah.
Curves and Combat Boots. Great company as well, veteran owned.
Can you tell us about what that company is, like what
so it's mainly leggings, athletic.
You have my attention.
They have the little booty scrunch.
Well, curves. Hey, what?
So it's all their ambassadors are veterans. It's great. They're veteran owned. Military wife and husband, and it's basically leggings. They're comfortable. They've got the pockets on them. That's what they're known for. Great company. They just did actually a red line and blue line set as well, and they'll be donating a portion of the proceeds to law enforcement and first responders.
Oh, that's great.
Strike Force Energy, obviously. Sean Matson, Navy SEAL. That's a great company. We love them.
Before we get into that, on the Curves and Combat Boots thing, I know you guys do a lot of shoots. Are there like calendars and shit like that with it, or is it just promotional stuff?
So that's more just promotional for them. Same thing with Warrior Flask. The shoots that I do are kind of more on the side, right, for like weapons companies. And on that note, it's so funny. So like I'll get hired by a lot of companies to do photo shoots, and Mike would come along and he'll help out. He'll hold lights for me.
Grip.
And yeah, he does a lot of the behind the scenes. Well, then someone was like, hey, Mike, can you actually get in on this shoot and throw on some gear?
Can
And
you
so-
stand between these 4 hot women? I'm
Seriously,
good.
so that's what happened. They got
Holding
him
this
in.
lamp over here.
So they get him into some of the shoots. They throw some gear on him. So next thing you know, I get a call from Back Bay Ripper, right, for the body armor. And they're like, yeah, we want to set up a shoot with you and Mike and doing some Navy SEAL over the beach stuff. It'll look really cool. So then we're planning this. Time comes to do the shoot. They're like, you know what? We actually just want to use Mike. We don't need you. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Wait a
Like,
minute. What
he's
just
stealing
happened?
my jobs now. And so now I'm the one holding the lights, doing the behind the scenes. I'm like, what is this shit?
Oh, it happened like twice.
Yeah. So
fucking
it's
great.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
So sorry, sidetrack, but yeah.
Yeah, so with the photo shoots and stuff, that's if people want to reach out to you to hire you to do
Yeah,
stuff
absolutely.
like that, where would they go to do that?
Just on my Instagram or Facebook, they can send me a message. My email's on there. They can just reach out to me, and I'm
And what
very
can
quick
you-
about responding.
Can you mention your handle on?
So it's Samantha _R_ Bonilla, Bonilla.
Okay, there you have it, folks. And I'm assuming, like in terms of some of the other ladies you work with, if they want like multiple or whatever, you can put them
Absolutely.
in touch with all that.
Yep, I work very closely with a lot of female veterans,
Yeah.
and we do a lot of shoots together. So.
Awesome. And then the Strike Force stuff. Can you talk about what you do for them and give us an overview on that quick?
So obviously veteran-owned company as well. I love promoting veteran-owned companies and Strike Force Energy. Sean Matson's a good friend of Mike's. He introduced me. We started working together. We love the product.
Yeah.
You know, we're big Red Bull drinkers, and now we have kicked the can and switched over to Strike Force. You know?
Nice.
So it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, and Sean does whatever he can to make sure we always have product to give back also.
Yeah.
So when I do go give those Warrior Flash, Sean always sends like boxes and boxes. It's amazing.
Where are they out of, Strike Force?
Virginia.
Beach.
Okay. Is he an East Coast guy, I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's great for you're backpacking, doing a lot of traveling.
Yeah, for our
adventure.
adventures,
Yeah.
like it's perfect.
It's like, when you're on deployment and you try to bring like Red Bulls or Rippets with you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you can only fit so many in your pouch.
Yeah.
But you put Strike Force in there, you could fit 100 of them
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
M4 pouch.
Yeah. Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah, Sean and his team, they're just good dudes. Like they'll send us, what do you need? What do you need? You're visiting this department? How many people? You know, we'll send you whatever you need. So
Oh, that's fantastic. Any other companies that you're working with in that capacity or that you want to mention?
Ammo Inc. They're our ammo sponsor. You know, obviously we love ammo. They're a great company.
Yeah. They sending you some free bullets, or they lead free going to California or some crazy shit.
Oh, that's what's so
It's funny
hard.
what you have to go through in California just to
get
pick them
ammo.
up.
Yeah.
Oh.
I
You
mean,
guys-
It's
Are
crazy.
you planning on
They have to
staying?
ship it like it's a weapon to an
Yeah.
FFL dealer.
For
you have to
ammo.
go in, show them your ID, sign
Really?
out for
it's
everything.
incredible.
A protection dog client of mine owns an ammo company up in Missouri, and I mean, God bless Texas. Like he just ships cases of it to me. Like, I mean,
That's
it's
it?
not,
Just
not
right to your home?
Yeah, not even a signature required. Like, I'll come
Jeez.
home and there's fucking 3 boxes of fucking 3
See.
cases of fucking 5.56 and 9.9 mil sitting on my doorstep. That's how it used to be. For all you assholes listening out there, that doesn't happen anymore.
Unless you get another ammo sponsor.
have a lot of people showing up at my house trying to steal
Yeah.
ammo off the front doorstep.
But yeah, good question. Why do we still live in
Yeah.
California?
You guys plan
know?
on staying there? Like,
I mean, the thing is, we got the business in California right now. Yeah, you do pay the sun tax. It's
Yeah.
nice with the sun up there. But I mean, obviously, luckily, San Diego, Southern California, San Diego, more in particular, you have a big military influence there. You're not so affected by, the far left there.
Yeah.
So it's still not that bad right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the cost of living in California is definitely through the
It's
roof.
absurd.
It's I mean, it just keeps getting more and more. And it's like, they say San Diego or Southern California in particular is the hardest place in America to amass wealth.
no, I don't doubt it.
And it just seems like, you work, and it's just, you're paying. It's just, it's really hard to get ahead. I think at some point you just say, you know what, it's California. It was a cool experience to live out here. I really liked it. you know, it was fun, but you know, I want to I want to go somewhere where my money I get what I pay for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, wow, you know, you can buy a $500,000 house and it's not a 1-bedroom apartment.
Yeah. No, I know it. I mean, you know, especially way out here in rural East Texas, like, I mean, it's one of the cheapest places in the country to buy property. I mean, off camera, I'll tell you what the specs were on this place, but yeah, I mean, it's between business taxes and, you know, there is no state tax, crazy veteran friendly in terms of everything. You know, it's a fantastic place to live. And I was at the point that you're talking about 10 years ago. You know, I moved here a little over 10 years ago now, but yeah, I love going to California for a couple of days, and then, you know, it's great to come home after that. But I cannot imagine trying to own a business, especially this business, because with dogs and all of the permits and fucking Humane Society, you know, statutes and bullshit that they have out there. Like I could not do what I do out there for sure. But
yeah, the red tape there is unbelievable.
Yeah, I can't even fucking imagine. In terms of the ammo company, are you just doing the brand ambassador stuff for them, or
right?
What?
Just basically promoting them as well.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, they're a great company.
Yeah. And what was the name of them again?
Ammo Inc.
Ammo Inc. Is that INC?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're out of Scottsdale.
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's one thing. When you leave the teams, you're so used to just having, you know, a surplus of ammo. You can shoot until your fingers are bleeding.
Yeah.
And it's just something you take for granted.
Oh, yeah.
And then as soon as you get out and you go to the range, and the first time you have to buy a box of ammo, it just hurts.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You're
It
like,
hurts.
You're
You're
like,
like,
that's how much for how many fucking rounds?
Yeah.
It's $3 a piece.
You got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
So definitely getting that ammo sponsor back is definitely
cool.
key when you like to shoot and you go out and blast through 1,000 rounds in a day.
Yeah. And it doesn't cost you fucking $800.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any other projects or things you guys want to mention before we start to wrap it up?
I think that's it, right?
No, I mean, we're always open to new opportunities out there.
Yeah, if you're listening. Well, you guys are definitely the dynamic duo. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, just like I said, we're always out, you know, doing adventures, exploring, you know, different gear, different companies. We love testing gear out. So, Lalo, we've been working with Lalo Shoes, and you know, there's a lot of team guy influence in the company. It's actually started by a team guy.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
But they've got some really good footwear that we've been rocking around.
Yeah,
definitely.
awesome.
If you're a fan of Merrill or Solomon or, you know, those type of outdoor shoes, definitely check them out.
Yeah, hell yeah, that's awesome. Any big travel plans in the next for the rest of this year?
Yes. So
Where are we
many.
going?
I mean, we have been going every week. Last week was our first week actually home for a while. I mean, so
yeah, I mean, we've been doing a lot of work travel. Definitely, we try to have fun when you're doing work travel.
Yeah.
We've got a couple trips that we're going to be coming up at Scottsdale, Hawaii. Definitely, I'm going to be doing some good free diving out in Hawaii.
Is the Hawaii trip just a vacation trip, or is it?
I mean, it'll definitely be work too. Everywhere we go we got to get content. We got to get content,
I gotcha.
you know, but mainly.
The main purpose of it will be a vacation. It'll be coming after the Murph Challenge.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like when the Murph Challenge is going down, it's just locked down, you know, every day to the grind. So after that, especially, you know, you go to the gym, knock out that workout, you're ready to do a little vacation, a little R&R.
Oh, I know it. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, that's kind of the key to life. I mean, we talk about it on this show a lot with all the different guests about balance and trying to, you know, figure out that happy medium of working your ass off and being productive, but not making it so much to where it's like, what's the fucking point, you know? Because you do see that, especially with hard-driven veterans like all of us, is that, you know, it's easy to find yourself in a situation where it's like you're trying to accomplish so many things that you're not really living your fucking life either, you know, and that's
right.
Yeah, it's a hard balance to strike sometimes.
Definitely be spread thin sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. No, absolutely. Well, you guys are the Batman and Robin dynamic duo. If I've ever fucking seen one, I love what you guys are about. I love what you're doing with all of the campaigns with you know, both professionally, personally. You guys seem like a kick-ass, we'll call it goals type of couple for sure. And I know a lot of people share that same outlook and sentiment that I have towards you guys. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for taking time out of your already busy schedule to come down here and chew the fat with me here out in the middle of nowhere. So I do appreciate it. Before, is there anything you guys want to add before we?
No, we want to thank you. We're happy to be
really
here.
Appreciate
this is great.
Us out here.
Yeah, we're gonna go get some Whataburger here in a minute. We're gonna settle this fucking score.
Take two.
Yeah. Before we close it out here, I do want to mention if you have a dog, go to teamdog.pet and sign up for the online training. It's $99, unlimited access for a year. There's forums, videos that are essentially representations of everything that I talk about in the Team Dog book. We will be having food and treats coming out here real soon that will be available through Tricos.com, mike.ritland.com, or the teamdog.pet site. The CBD oil, Tricos supplements, I've gotten a shit ton of good feedback on that. That will be available either through tricosupplements.com or any of the aforementioned sites that I talked about. The dog crate, that is almost finished. We've made a couple last-minute tweaks to the door, and that the Tricos dog crate will be out soon, and it's going to kick everybody's ass, and I can't wait because I've beat the ever-loving shit out of this crate with a dog that, frankly, is the Houdini of Houdinis and can get out of a fucking gorilla cage, and he could not get out of this fucking crate. So it is a badass tank of a crate, and it will be out very soon. We also have the Tricos first aid kits, which will be accompanied by the Canine First Aid certification and the Canine CPR certification. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is peanut butter involved in that CPR? No, it's not. That's for after the B-roll YouTube footage when Mike and Sam get shit-faced. But the first aid kits are badass. They're made by our friends over at ITS Tactical, co-designed by me, and again, they will accompany the certifications for first aid and CPR. Franchises, Tricos training franchises, again, I know I've been talking about them for 2 fucking years now. They will be out soon. Same thing, just stay tuned to Tricos.com to keep an eye on when those are available. There will be a very select few available at first. Like I can count on one hand the amount that I'm going to open it up to as we launch it. It'll be a bit of a slow roll, but if you're interested, keep your eye out. For those of you who have already emailed in with interest, just keep posted on Tricos.com. Rest of the merchandise, both Mic Drop and the Tricos gear, Tricos.com. If you go to mike.ritland.com, you can access the Mic Drop gear, swag, shirts, all that other shit that you want to order that has the Choke Yourself shirts and the We Don't Give a Shit About Your Feelings shirts that seem to be real popular ones. And maybe even Forge will be making our shit here before too long. And then last but certainly not least, Mike's Power Meals, which I had overwhelming feedback on that. Mike'sPowerMeals.com is the meal prep style meals that I designed with a prominent company out there that's shipping them out of both LA and Atlanta. So really fresh meals. Check out Mike'sPowerMeals.com, and that's where all those are at. Which you'll be hearing more about those soon. But good, clean meals without any bullshit, proportioned well, and I eat the shit out of them, and I dig them. So anyway, that's the house cleaning bullshit. Again, Mike, Sam, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
After Whataburger, we'll get you back to Dallas. And what do you guys have planned for while you're here? How long are you here for?
We're till Sunday.
Yeah, we're gonna stay here for a couple days.
Fucking check out the culture. Scout out some places to move the business.
Yeah, I've spent, I've been to different places in Texas. It's probably the 4th or 5th time I've been to Dallas. And you got kind of a diverse culture down here in Dallas. It's a little bit strange at times as far as you definitely have what you think Texas is, and then you got kind of a little like hipster kind of community there. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, but like out here, it's what you'd think of Texas. But yeah, in Dallas, it's, for me, I don't know what you guys think. Like for me, I find that most major metropolitan areas are kind of all the same. Like, there's different flavors of culture, depending on where they're at, but you have kind of that same almost, big city feel that's relatively interchangeable, I think. I mean, at least that's how I view it when I go to different places. There's different places to eat and shit, but there's a lot of that, like, huge, industry or metropolitan area, a lot of left-leaning bullshit, even here in Texas. I mean, whether it's Austin, San Antonio, Dallas, whatever, there's certainly big pockets of it that are not like what you would think are Texas at all. But so you guys will be hanging out there? Is that what,
oh, yeah. Texas never disappoints.
Yeah.
I
Amen.
mean, I've never got on a plane out of Texas and been like, wow, that trip was worthless. Like every time I'm out of here, I'm like, why don't we live here?
Yeah.
Why don't we live here? Why aren't we bought into this shit?
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Get your shit kickers on.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Amen. It's some armadillo skin boots. All right. Well, again, thank you guys for coming. To the listeners, I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in every time we drop an episode and giving me the overwhelming support and the ability to do this week to week. So thank you guys. If not for you, we would not exist, nor would I have the platform to run my fucking mouth the way I do. So I appreciate you guys. Mike and Sam, again, thanks for coming. And until next time, this is Mic Drop.